everyone, and welcome to this uncaged episode of Caging Greatness, the show where we talk about pretty much whatever the fuck we want to talk about. And this week...
And occasionally Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I mean, he makes it in there. And I do...
Occasionally Nicolas Cage.
I do actually have a little segue to put a little Cage content in there.
Oh.
But today, if you listened to last week's episode, you heard us spin the wheel live and you heard my shriek of joy. That's because this week's Uncaged episode is about a hero, an American icon, someone who got his ass handed to him in a bar fight, and then also by Jason David Frank at a convention. That's right, we're talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme, someone who was a big part of my childhood. Because between Bloodsport, which we'll talk about, Hard Target, which we'll talk about, fucking Street Fighter, which I quote all the time, and then also the Rocky movies, those were my favorite movies as a kid. So this is a very special episode for me.
Was Van Damme in a Rocky movie?
No, but he was in Universal Soldier with Dolph Lundgren, who was Ivan Drago.
I mean, I guess that counts.
It's like 7 degrees of separation at that point.
Yeah. And, Dolph Lundgren, who was also the Punisher.
He was.
He was.
Still my definitely number 3, maybe number 2 favorite Punisher. So,
That was a big gulp of water.
Yeah, everyone thirsty.
Stay hydrated. It's hot as fuck. Everybody, please stay hydrated. Jesus.
And yet my sinuses are clogged like it's midwinter.
Oh,
yeah.
God, man. Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg.
Yep. That's
him.
Rolled
off the tongue. We see why he shortened the name a bit.
Yes, we do.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, his name is still kind of long.
Yeah.
But I get it now.
Yeah, granted, all 4 words are just one syllable, so it's just Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
But we just dropped the 5 middle names.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a good choice. I think it was a good change. It was a good change.
Very marketable.
Definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys watched Time Cop, and then I've seen Bloodsport probably an unhealthy amount of times. Same for Hard Target. But I rewatched that recently, like I do. So I watched that probably once every 6 months.
I'm sorry. This just in. I just received an email from the anonymous Raw general manager.
That is that noise.
You are wearing a Raw shirt right now.
He is. Pat is wearing a Raw shirt. His phone is making that noise.
Hey, we're getting updates by the minute.
I mean, it would have been a better choice than Hornswoggle.
Yeah, no, most things would have been.
Yeah, it would have been just a 8-year-old, maybe 8 to 10-year-old Pat. Whenever that happened, my mind is a little foggy right now.
Pat, are you Vince McMahon's son?
No, but I am Sheamus's son.
Okay,
okay.
You're related to Beaker then,
from the Muppets.
Holy shit!
Oh my God, you're a Muppet.
That's just rude.
Hey, just because people don't like my party trick of like flapping the top part of my head to the back of my neck and just leaving my tongue to dangle out.
It is horrifying.
It's kind of scary.
So Jean-Claude Van
Yes, we watched a bunch of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Yeah,
a surprising amount for the amount of time we had to watch these movies.
And see, I'm excited because, like I said, I watch Bloodsport a lot. I watch Street Fighter all the time. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies. Hard Target is a yearly, at least, rewatch. But I haven't seen Time Cop in like 20 years. And you guys watched that one, so I'm excited to hear about that one. And also, like, you guys, none of you had seen Bloodsport before this week, right?
The only movie that I have seen out of the chunk of movies that we've all seen was Street Fighter that we watched tonight.
Yeah, moments ago.
All of the other films were my first viewing.
Oh, this is exciting.
And I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what Jean-Claude Van Damme looked like until about a week ago.
He was just the name of a faceless sphere.
Yeah, like I knew the name. I've just never seen his face, and it's like, oh, he just. Yeah.
Wait, who's here?
Yeah, we haven't even introduced ourselves.
We're getting there.
I didn't know.
At this point,
Otto is impatient. He's giving me the stare.
I feel like if they're listening to us, they know who we are. But we'll go around. We'll introduce ourselves. We'll do our normal thing where we'll tell what we rated the movies, and we can do one at a time or all at once, whatever you guys.
We
want.
all scream at once. Just 4.
To my right,
Stupid.
of course, is the lovely and talented Jonathan.
I'm tired.
Jonathan Van Damme. And then, of course, in front of him, I'm saying this because none of you can see it because this is an audio-only podcast. We have Patrick Van Damme.
Howdy.
And then to his right, of course, we have that Cannon Van Damme.
I would say Jean Can Van Damme.
I was going to say Jean-Claude Van Damme, but
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of really good options.
I think mine's
his
better,
name
but,
lends itself to a lot of fun stuff.
Yep.
That cannon guy,
Jean-Claude,
God damn it. What just happened? I don't even know if we said the same thing, but it sounded like
Wait, what did you say?
I said that cannon guy, Van Damme it.
I just said Jean-Claude Van Damme it.
We were almost there.
We're on the same wavelength.
Close enough. Close enough. I'll take it.
See, just
Also, there we go.
Yeah, you got to do the bit.
Oh, that one had some nice splatter on it, Pat.
Spritzed
Hell
everywhere.
yeah.
yeah, the first 2 rows of the podcast will get wet.
It was. It's like when
People
all
in
the
rain jackets.
angels are splooging.
God. Oh yes, just for today's episode, I'm going to change my Twitter name from John lost his name to Jean-Claude lost his Van Damme.
Name.
I like it. All right, so
Dude, where's my Van Damme?
probably the most controversial pick. Let's do that one first.
Controversial pick.
Well, I mean, in terms of our ratings, the disparity, because I might have peaked at
Might
the
have
Letterboxd. Let's talk about JCVD.
Oh, yes,
Briefly.
yes.
That was the first one.
Oh fuck! It was a movie.
So
Yeah.
let's go around as we do. Jonathan, what did you think of JCVD?
Okay. I'm going to preface all this by saying we watched the English dub, which was god fucking awful.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I wish you guys had.
See,
I would have warned you as my fault.
Yeah, and like I saw like
It's all your fault, Shim. I
Oh God, not the finger guns.
And they're both pointed at you this time.
Oh no!
bam. But and like I saw like clips today from the French language version. I'm like, oh wow, this is a lot better. But that being said, there are a lot of really really cool concepts in this movie. I really love the meta element, but something was missing, and for as self-aware as the movie was, it was also too, knowing who Jean-Claude Van Damme is now, it was like, okay, yeah, he's self-aware enough, but also is like, I'm also the greatest thing to ever happen to this
it's
planet.
what happens when someone is
Because like every like side character is like, holy fuck, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. He is so awesome.
It's what happens when someone is self-aware but also self-aggrandizing.
I mean, that does describe his actual personality.
Yeah.
So, like honestly, I should have both said watch the originals with subtitles, and also watch it last.
Yeah.
Because having even the slightest point of reference to his film career really helps.
Yeah, because the only thing I knew was his name and that he was kind of an asshole. But
Very much so. But what was your star rating?
I will say I think I'm probably going to go up on it. Like I think I might have been a little too harsh, but right now it's sitting at a straight 2.
Okay. Pat, how about you? He's flashing a 2 at me.
Yep.
I don't know why he's not speaking, but he's flashing a 2.
It's preemptive to the bit. So when we watched JVCD,
JCVD.
yes, that's what I know what I said.
JVC. Like,
JVC Kaboom Box.
like the
Available
former
now.
plant down the road.
WWJCVD. D. But yes,
What would Jean-Claude Van do?
www.jcvd.org.
backslash.
http://
.gov.uk.
Pat.
Yes.
Hyphen.
Welcome to Uncaged, everyone. Sorry, we're not fucking sorry.
Uncaged.
This is very, very similar to the normal episodes, I think. So.
Yeah, no rules here. We're just a pink bird.
Just Flamingos here today.
But yes, this movie, I did appreciate, even as sort of unfamiliar with his body work outside of his just general grandeur and pop cultural
Persona.
I think the movie had some merits, but to me, it kind of just felt like not a lot really happened throughout the course of it. But we'll get into that. It did have a few sort of interesting beats. I'm not sure if it really pulled out of itself. So I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Cannon?
I have been curious about this film for years. I saw the initial trailers way back when. Was it 2008 ish, something like that? And that being said, granted, it was forever ago, but the movie I saw was definitely not the film that the trailer was trying to sell me at the time. That being said, I too feel like I would have had a better experience listening to the
Original language.
Original, yeah. Because there's a lot of oh god, just I know how anime fans feel now with shitty English dubs.
But even
I get it now. I understand.
But even with anime, it's just mouth flaps.
Yeah.
It's not that weird disconnect that a lot of live action English dubs have. And then on top of that, a lot of the especially the guy with the weird mullet thing.
Oh god, yeah.
He was really bad.
But overall, like Jonathan, I feel like I should give the movie another shake with the original version. But as of right now, I too am at a 2.
That's fair.
I will say, and I'll give the movie credit, I think out of the movies we watch, this is far and away his best performance. And for nothing else, that 7-minute monologue alone.
Because there is a moment in the film where he has a genuine moment of acting at this monologue he gives, and not to say he hasn't sort of had flashes of acting prowess, but just you would think he had this nice long sustained moment to really show what he can do, which is very refreshing.
And see some context for the history of the movie, because listen, I watched it when it came out. I bought the DVD immediately because I was a John Claude Van Damme from the time I was 5 fucking years old, right? Mm-hmm. So this was his last big role was around 94, 95. I think Street Fighter was the beginning of the end for him. And then after that, it was Double Team with Dennis Rodman and 38 Universal Soldier sequels with Scott Adkins and Hard Target 2 with Scott Adkins and a couple other movies with Scott Adkins.
And a lot of direct-to-video garbage.
And to be fair to Scott Adkins, he does say he's the king of direct-to-video sequels. He said, I don't know what my next movie is going to be, but it probably has a 2 or a 3 in it.
Yeah.
So. I
mean, if you're going to do that, fucking own it.
He's very aware of his place in Hollywood, and he's made a good buck of it. And he's a really good martial artist.
And he's become friends with Van Damme, who was his hero growing up. Yep. He's actually said without Bruce Lee and Van Damme, he wouldn't be in movies. So, good for Scott Adkins, honestly.
Yeah.
But point is, JCVD was the beginning of a bit of a resurgence for Van Damme. And that monologue you mentioned, that was the centerpiece of every critical reaction, because up to that point he had not acted. Everything you see in Street Fighter, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Time Cop, Hard Target, it's just him doing that. Every time it's just that. And so most of the movie is slow, it's plotting, it's boring, but that monologue is what everybody gravitated towards, because this was the first time Van Damme had been in anything worthwhile in, at that point, 15 years. And the first time he had flexed anything even resembling an acting muscle.
We'll talk about flexing. The cover photo for John Claude Van Damme in this photo is just him literally flexing his bicep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they said,
during that exact scene, if I remember correctly.
Letterboxd said, this one's for the gays.
And the first time, this was one of the first real meta sort of performances from a major Hollywood anything, because eventually
because this was before like Expendables.
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff
way
like.
before. So it's before Stallone's making fun of himself. It's before any of that. This is the first real thing, as far as I'm aware, if not the first, one of the first.
And not to get like all like hyperbolic and superlative with it, but like there's a lot of like genuine emotion that is evoked. It's like really raw, almost confessional.
Yeah, because this was his first big thing. Because again, he was doing direct-to-DVD stuff. He had lost it, his wife had divorced him. His kid hated him. Because all of the 90s, 80s and 90s, the way he tells it, it was just cocaine and women. That was his entire cocaine, women, and splits.
A lot of splits.
And lots of splits.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So this was his first real resurgence, and it's what led to the Expendables role, and then that Super Bowl commercial where he did the splits, and now he's pretty active on the convention circuit. At least he was before the general state of the world since 2020. So yeah, this movie is very much both a product of its time, and it requires the context of being a fan of his beforehand.
Yeah.
So I should have warned you to not start with it, and also to watch the original language version, because Jackie Chan is great about doing his own dub over, so that helps when he does movies most of the time. But this one they didn't have Van Damme.
Yeah, which it felt really odd, because there's a point where he speaks, his English in the film, and it's perfectly intelligible. And then just like a completely different voice comes out when he's speaking French, and there's just like this random dude over it.
And that might not even been his decision.
Yeah.
It's like especially with it's sort of hard to communicate like someone speaking a different language when everyone's speaking the same language, and you kind of have to communicate that for the movie to make sense in certain places.
I will say, unless you've been living under several rocks, I don't think having seen a lot of his past work is a prerequisite to watch this film.
Yeah,
and to get what they're trying. I get what they're trying to convey.
Yeah,
that's why I said I now want to watch the original version so I can at least get a better grasp on it, because the dub really took me out of a lot of parts of this movie.
Yeah, and that and the fucking lighting in this movie.
Oh god!
Yeah,
I know that was like a conscious choice.
We went back to bringing out the dead with the fucking heat lamps in this movie, buddy.
They were like turning into shrinky dinks at the end of this movie. Because my Letterboxd review for this one, this is why does this whole movie look like it was lit like a World War II flashback scene?
You're not wrong.
Fair,
because it has an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes,
and in fact, one of the excuse me, one of the biggest positive reviews for JCVD came from Mr. Nicolas Cage.
The Cage himself.
Yeah, Cage loved it.
Hell yeah! But like Kenan was saying, even this being the first time just honestly ever seeing the man, you kind of get what the movie's going for.
Yeah. Going into this episode, y'all already know I had 2, maybe 3 of Van Damme movies under my belt, and all of the quote unquote classics never seen. So,
well, it's not so much that you needed to have watched his. I worded that poorly. Basically, it was the same effect as when Adam Sandler did Punch Drunk Love, because he's known for a thing. Like Sandler was known for doing right, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, this guy can actually act. And Van Damme was the same way. He was known for doing splits and badly dancing in music videos and doing a shitload of cocaine
and dancing really funnily, and a kickboxer.
Right, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, this man can act. That's sort of like the experience you really need to have gone in and super appreciate the film.
Yeah, I think Punch Drunk Love is a pretty apt comparison. Not necessarily like 1-to-1 in specifics, but sort of that, like you were saying, that idea.
Oh, so what happens in this movie, eh?
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays himself.
Yes.
As an aging, washed up actor,
which he was,
going through a hella bad divorce,
which he was,
hard on cash, can't get many roles.
Which he was, and which he couldn't.
Yeah, and he goes to the English dub said a post office.
Yeah.
To get a loan, which I imagine that's like a Belgian cultural thing we don't get.
Yeah.
Either that or just like a mistranslation in the dub. But
Because that building became a bank and a post office back and forth several times in this film.
However, when he gets there, it's being held hostage, and the robbers get the idea of like, hey, we got Jean-Claude Van Damme. We can make it look like he did it because, you know, he's a wash-up actor and blah, blah, blah.
He's desperate right now.
Yeah, and it kind of...
No, they wanted a ransom.
Yeah, that's right. And then...
They're like, he's a big Hollywood actor. They'll pay buku bucks for him, right?
Did they ask for $1 billion or something? They asked for like a stupidly high amount.
Yeah. But, and then it kind of has this, like, meta exploration of Jean-Claude Van Damme's career, and he then saves the day.
In a very, I'll say, almost un-Jean-Claude kind of way, which I feel like in this movie kind of works.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was, if I remember right, because this was the first one we watched, you know, last week. Like he has this like vision of how it goes down, and it's like more of like a Jean-Claude movie where he's like kicking and being badass and shit.
Does the backflips and everybody claps.
Yeah, everyone claps like woo. But then it actually shows what really happened, and it was like a more like realistic take on like, you know, the cops come in and they grab him, and it was like, well, let's get grab bad guys. And
but like all while this hostage situation is going on, they have Jean-Claude talking to the head inspector of the hostage situation, and somehow finagles, it's like what, over 600 grand?
I think it's like 450-ish, like 465, I think.
And all
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And in a little subplot, this is him trying to get the money for his court fees.
Yeah.
And to pay the lawyer and whatnot, because he's going through a really bad...
It's like this like fraternity suit, like trying to like finagle his like ever increasing in money and expenses divorce, while also trying to like maintain custody of his only child.
Granted, it's not the movie's fault, but being the kid in that chair in that situation, that's not fun.
Yeah,
because they have the kid just being like, all right, now, which parent do you want to go with? And it's like, that's kind of a fucked up situation to put a kid in.
Yes, it is.
Yep, it's terrible.
It's not fun.
We're calling you out, divorce court.
That being said, I thought that part of the film was more entertaining than the whole heist portion.
Like just like faux like action.
And again, that can also go to the dub. Again, have to watch it again.
I'd be interested to see you guys watch it again with the original voices and see what you think after that.
I will totally give this movie another shake.
And I think after seeing more of the quote classics, I think I might have more of a appreciation of what they're trying to do. Even though you get a vague idea of what they're trying to do with this movie, I think having that extra context from his previous career,
like seeing his like entire, or seeing like a good part of his body of work will sort of give like a fuller interpretation of the film. But like we said, we had just sort of just a general idea that he's a very well-known action star from the previous decades, and that in itself is enough to get you going. To understand the plot of the film.
Oh man, I had a point and I lost it. Someone else talk for a second.
Okay. Well, you think about that while I segue us into the next movie, I suppose.
Yeah. Well,
fuck it. It's not that important. Let's just go to the next one.
Yeah. And I think kind of leading into whatever movie we're going to talk about.
Time Cop.
Okay. I think this will fit.
Yeah. Because
it's that time already.
Because I don't have a lot to say about Time Cop. Like I said, been about 20 years. And I did not appreciate it the first time. I need to rewatch it because this is going to be one of those weird moments where my rating is lower than you guys. But again, I
don't know about that.
That's
a rare instance.
That's because again, it's been a long time. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll save the three that we have all seen recently
For last.
for the second half of the show.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Sounds
that
good.
idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Something that kind of took me off guard is because, like, at least in like pop culture parlance, when you hear the name Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's alongside those big muscle-bound dudes from the 80s, like
Stallone,
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, so on and so forth. Even like Norris. But like he's not like super huge. Like I mean, he's definitely jacked. He's like bigger than the average dude.
Oh,
but
he cut.
yeah, he's like he's more cut, and I feel like that type of body, like if you work out for a couple of years, is a little more attainable. But also, he's more of, even though he is in the same vein of like a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone like type of action movie star, he also there's also a lot more of like just like martial arts, like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan.
And see, that's what got him popular. Because Bloodsport was his first major huge thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he'd been in other stuff.
Just like bit parts here and there.
Yeah, and you had stuff like The Karate Kid. You had the legacy of Bruce Lee and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But Van Damme, and I'm going to... This is from the point of view of Hollywood in the 80s, so let me start with that. Van Damme was an excellent way to bring what Americans thought of martial arts into the action movie world with the face of a white man.
Yeah, and like there's definitely some like squeaky racial politics in there, but even like from like I guess thinking of like how they were doing it in a less malicious way. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes you do need some sort of mediary to get people into certain things, like
sure.
Like because especially martial arts movies, while like I'm a huge fan of them, like particularly like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, all that, like it is definitely very niche. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of like cultural things that don't really translate to Western sensibilities, but I think having something like a Bloodsport is a really good in between, even if it's not perfect. And you know, and like you were saying, you know, it's also coming from the 80s, which, you know, may not have been the was probably a lot more racist than it is today.
Yeah.
Not the most sensitive time in
Yeah, no.
media entertainment.
Exactly. So
Yeah. Long Duck Dong
Yeah.
comes to mind. But no, it's...
Or even like something like Big Trouble in Little China, even though like John Carpenter has been very candid about how he wasn't trying to be offensive with that movie and trying to respect the tradition of martial arts films. Mm-hmm. It also has a different connotation when you have a white guy doing that. Well, and I love Big Trouble in Little China, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like if you like it you're racist or
the thing about that one is the whole joke of the movie is that Kurt Russell's the sidekick.
Yeah, and that too.
But a lot of people miss that because it's Kurt Russell.
Well, yeah, and then it's also you also get in the question. It's like, well, is this his joke to really make? And yeah, that that's a whole nother conversation for another time. Yeah. That's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. So let's get back on topic.
But yeah, because you had Stallone was with Rocky and then with Rambo. Boom. He was sort of like more of the everyman action hero before Bruce Willis became a thing. Like he was the closest one to a regular dude.
Yeah, like I mean, he was still like jacked to fuck, especially like by Rambo 3.
Yeah, but you had Schwarzenegger, who was the Greek god come to life sort of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, he was the superstar.
Yeah. And then Stallone was sort of like the everyman, and then Jean-Claude was good. He was the martial arts guy. He was the kicky guy.
Yeah, and it's like sort of like in the like if we had a tier list, like pop culture wise, you have like Stallone's like A or S tier.
Yeah,
or I meant Schwarzenegger. Then
Schwarzenegger's S tier. Stallone would be A tier.
Yeah, and then like
Van Damme
is like B, C tier, and then you got Steven Seagal, which is D tier. Yeah. Also, a massive piece of shit, which
Seagal's terrible.
Which I knew, but like I didn't know he was like into like human trafficking and shit.
D tier. That's a little too high, Bubba.
Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that. More like shit tier.
Van Damme was B tier in his heyday. Van Damme was almost as popular as Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. Van Damme was going to be the Predator in the first Predator movie.
Oh yeah, like but when they had the more like goofy suit for it.
like you wouldn't
The
be able to
little
see
like
his
the
face.
more like bug looking creature.
Yeah, and he was notoriously hard to work with. And
And then you get like Chuck Norris is C tier, and then you get to the Seagulls. Point is Van Damme.
Yeah, I will say, like, and this is to your point. I'm not like jumping off course here, but
No, it's
like you said,
because I forgot my point.
oh, shit, see, it all comes around.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't know how many times I will be in the middle of a point saying something, lose it, and then like have to come back around.
Yeah.
Or like when like I'll have an idea and one of y'all will be talking and then I'll forget that idea and I'm like, fuck, what was I going to say? And then by the time y'all stop, it's like, oh, I was going to say this.
Yeah, no, like if everyone were to rewind it about 20 seconds and you hear me say, but Van Damme, that's where it's gone. It's like, but Van Damme was me desperately clawing to try and get back what I was trying to say.
Also, I apologize for interrupting.
No.
I just find it interesting because we've talked about this before on and off the pod. I am a late bloomer when it comes to a lot of the action greats of the heyday. Like, I mean, I'd seen like Terminator and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
like all the old stuff, like say your Predators and your Conans and stuff like that, I'd never seen. I'm seeing like the True Lies and stuff like that.
Commando.
Same with Stallone. Like I've only seen one Rocky movie all the way through, and it's Creed, and the cricket's back. Holy shit!
We have to watch Rocky 4.
Yeah,
Rocky 4 is objectively the best
and
Rocky.
like Rambo's, I've only seen. Oh my God, you are like
That is a very loud
obnoxiously loud today.
God.
Jonathan on the hunt now.
And the thing is, we killed the cricket on this week's episode of the show. I guess another one.
We've
took its
killed
place.
something on every episode of this show for the past like 2 months.
I mean, if we didn't have a creature sighting on this show, something would be wrong.
Yeah, no, it would
I'd be
weird.
concerned.
Yeah.
But I'm a late bloomer to a lot of the great action stars, and I wish I could have squeezed in a lot more. Like I said, I actually tried to squeeze in The Last Mercenary, his new Netflix film today, which I saw the trailer for. Ironically enough, at work today, I said I wasn't going to watch any more movie trailers, but that's a whole other conversation. But I watched the trailer for that, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to watch this. This looks entertaining, like very fun. But yes, the movies we have seen, like hell, I even wanted to. I've seen the very first episode. Granted, it was when it first dropped of Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I wanted to try to knock those out.
Yeah,
because I remember it being at least like at least a bit humorous. Because like JCVD, I love meta things. This just again have to watch the OG version.
And there's just like a lot of things where it's like, okay, I appreciate what they're doing, but it just didn't connect.
Also, I just as we were speaking, I think I figured out what I want to do for my birthday episode.
Oh wait, is this it? Set in stone?
I think so. Like unless something just way better pops up between now and September 18th.
Pat's slowly grabbing the iPad to jot this one down.
I want to do a Dolph Lundgren episode.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And it'll be a companion piece to this because it'll be a way to force Canon to watch Rocky 4.
Yes.
Force the rest of you to watch The Punisher.
Yes.
Because I'm sure you've already seen it.
It's been a long time, but I have seen it.
It's a really fucking good action movie. Like Lou Gossett Jr., for fuck's sake.
No skull.
I'm going to make all of you watch Masters of the Universe. I'm sorry, but that's going to happen.
No, don't apologize.
It's not
Don't
good.
you dare apologize to me about that, sir.
Okay, but Frank Langella as Skeletor is tremendous.
I've heard he is Skeletor is the best part of that
but
movie.
far and fucking away, he's the highlight.
Also, I really want to watch the fucking Netflix show.
The Netflix. I watched all 5 episodes. It's pretty solid.
Do you know
It's
I
got some
had
good-
somebody come up to me 2 days ago bitching about that show
course
and
they
call
would.
Kevin Smith a poser fanboy?
Whoa.
Imagine how
Call
far
it Kevin's fucking
how
goddamn.
far up your own ass do you have to be to say Kevin Smith is a poser fanboy?
Like, I mean, obviously, this is a Masters of the Universe layman here, but like, I don't know what they would have what they would have done. And plus, like, we talked about this on AYCH, but it's one of those things when you have, like, some property that you have been, like, nurturing in your head for the better part of 30 plus years, there's literally nothing that another person can bring to the table that will be sufficient to this idealized, crystallized version that these dudes have been, like, carrying with themselves for their entire adult lives.
Well, this was the same guy who said Brie Larson needs to smile more, and he said it unironically.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
God.
Anyway, Dolph Lundgren. So, Rocky IV, Punisher, Masters of the Universe, and to tie it in,
Universal Soldier,
which I love.
Yes.
So I think that's it. And if we have time, because we got weeks between now and then, we can throw in the Expendables.
Yeah,
It was good.
At least the first one. First one was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed all three. But again, I'm a fan of these big stupid action movies.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I remember JCVD's performance in that movie, and gross. Couldn't bother to take off his sunglasses half the time. And I know you're trying to convey, the bad guy look, but you're really trying to convey this. I am very high right now. You don't.
It's like no one can see these bloodshot eyeballs.
that's fair.
Also, we might have to squeeze in the one 20-minute Workaholics episode that Dolph Lundgren's in,
Yeah,
because
sure,
I
yeah.
love Workaholics.
Yeah.
What little I've seen of that show, I've really enjoyed.
Like for this episode, I wanted to go whole hog. Unfortunately, didn't have the time.
There
Now,
were a
though.
couple other movies
No,
that we
now
wanted
we
to
do.
check out.
yeah, like Universal Soldier. I want to check out Kickboxer.
I was going to bring up his
Kickboxer's a
episode
good
of
time.
Friends.
I wanted to see.
He's in-
He was in Friends.
I wanted to see Double Team and Double Impact.
I wanted to watch both of those.
Double Impact was fun. Double Team is really just so many kinds of awful.
That's why I want to watch it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Anywho, Time Cop.
yeah.
And
And now we have time for Lundgren, so we can prepare. And also, I already have the Rocky IV, Punisher, and Masters of the Universe DVDs.
You know what? No money spent.
God,
Master of the Universal
Master.
Soldier.
you don't know how fucking excited I am to rewatch Rocky IV. I love that.
You have no idea how
so
excited
good.
I am to rewatch Masters of the fucking Universe. Okay,
It's going to be a good time.
that I'm not even joking. That's the. I wore that movie out when I was a
I
kid.
do not wish to
Maybe
be
we should-
good.
Maybe for the Sunday
I wish
before
to
that
be
episode,
evil.
as my birthday thing, we'll just have a marathon. If you guys are up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down.
I mean, because the best they would do would be that Sunday, the 19th, and we usually do a little movie time for Shimmy on his birthday.
Oh yeah.
So we have a Dolph Day for
Dolph
Shimmy.
Day
Yep.
on the B Day. I was actually surprised y'all joined me for a double feature last night.
Yeah, because we watched Hard Target and the movie we're about to talk about.
Hell
Time Cop.
yeah! Time
Eventually.
Cop.
Yeah. So
But also, I'm excited to think that we'd be able to cover both versions of the Punisher on this show
Which is very true.
within the same year.
it would be it would be on the 13th, because my birthday episode we were recording that. Oh no, it releases of the 16th, which is before my birthday, so that would be like the 11th that we'd record it, because my birthday is a Saturday,
Okey-doke.
if I remember my calendar correctly. Anyway, we'll figure that out.
The calendar is in flux.
The point is
Time Cop.
Time Cop, which
Much like the timeline in Time Cop.
for this one, I'll go first because this is not going to take long at all. I barely remember a goddamn thing about this movie, except that I did not enjoy it, and he had a mullet and he did the splits in the kitchen in his underwear. So I gave this one 2 stars. I need to rewatch it to give it a fair
He
shake.
fucking split up his asshole in this movie.
Also,
Wait, we also saw his fucking chocolate starfish too.
Yeah,
just straight up camera right in his butthole.
They're just sliding that camera right between the cracks of that
I'll
crevasse.
put it this way. The most I remember about this movie are the ads on the back of the vintage comics that I get in the shop from time to time. Because there were ads for Time Cop all over the back of Batman.
Yeah.
All up in the 90s.
It definitely has a poster that you would see in the back of a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of like I was talking with Street Fighter a little bit, how early mid 90s sci-fi, like what were the movies I brought up, like Demolition Man,
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Total Recall,
Love that
stuff
movie.
like that, where everything's like kind of blocky.
Yeah.
My God, all these movies
but I love
setting, like all these 80s and 90s movies that you guys are talking about, like they're my fucking favorites. They're my childhood, man.
Yeah.
Goddamn Conan the I own a battle-ready replica of the Conan the Barbarian Atlantean sword from the first Schwarzenegger movie. It is one of my prized possessions. I fucking love that movie.
Man.
All I know is just that one quote from it. Where he's
What is best in life?
What is best in life?
Crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women.
Yes.
Fucking Conan, man. Anyway, so talk about Time Cop. I have nothing to add. So up now
Coming
until the
soon,
break.
Time Conan.
Time Conan.
I'd watch the shit.
Where am I? What is this? The future? Oh my God!
Which was basically just when they transplanted Conan to the Marvel universe within the
Which has
comics.
been fantastic. Because he's got the original books, and he's also part of the fucking Avengers.
Yeah, the Savage Avengers, which is apparently the only place he actually interacts with the Marvel universe.
Yeah, he's friends with the Punisher.
Just one book.
So Schwarzenegger and Lundgren are friends.
And he had a symbiote sword for a second.
He still has the thing. Anyway, Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Jonathan, what did you think of Time Cop?
Okay, my review on Letterboxd puts what I think of this movie succinctly. So, like, when we were talking about which movies we wanted to do for this, that was one of the first ones I went to, because Time Cop, just the name sounds like fucking awesome and bonkers as shit. And like for like the first 20 minutes, I was fucking digging it, right? Like the movie opens with a guy just mowing down Confederate soldiers, right? Like, oh, way down south in the land of traitors. Fuck them. Like, like I'm just like, all right, yeah, this is my type of movie. But as it went along, like I didn't hate it, but it just turned into like a meh movie. And especially with something as like cool of a premise as basically the TVA, but with Jean-Claude. Like I just wanted to see like more like weird like time placements, like go into like Middle Ages or like ancient China or somewhere. And I know like probably the reason why they didn't do that is obviously budgetary restrictions, but because like it starts out like Civil War, we kill some Confederate traitors. They go to 1929 during the stock market crash. And then it's just like, okay, we're just going to go like 5 years into the past. So like I gave it like a 2.5. Like
so you didn't think it went Time Cop enough? Yeah,
like I wanted it to be crazier. And like I said, I know it's a movie from the mid 90s. You know, Jean-Claude, even though he was a big action star, didn't have the same pool as like a Schwarzenegger or Stallone. But that's my thoughts.
Fair. Pat?
For me, I gave it 3 stars because on a similar boat with Jonathan, I do feel like it had a lot of potential with its premise to go some really far off places, like literally. But it kind of just spun its wheels for a good bit of the movie, and it kind of just didn't go as far as I like it. There's still some fun to be had. I will say this is probably one of the best looking movies of like the older days, because it has like, to me, like a really like high quality with its filming and like set design, and like, you know, I think for the most part it's a well put together movie. It's just kind of like not a lot there, but to me, the most outrageous thing was the fact that a cop could buy a 3-story Victorian mansion in New England, because goddamn, that place was huge.
Yeah, this motherfucker in the middle of goddamn Martha's Vineyard. Like, what the fuck is this? I guess the Time Cop pension pays a lot more.
Evidently.
Cannon, what do you think?
Okay, first of all, you can't talk shit about mullets when your favorite is Hard Fucking Target, okay? Have you seen that Shawn Michaels-esque mullet on that man in
It was
that movie?
pretty good time.
Oh,
JCVD with HBK.
I feel that Van Damme pulled off the Bride of Frankenstein look in this movie very well. Thank you very much. Anyway, excuse me while I change the mood a bit.
When God, that was so disarming when they're like at the mall, kind of just hanging out, and it just goes straight to Fucktown.
Yeah,
within the first like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we'll definitely get back to that after Cannon finishes his point.
So, out of all the films that we have seen for this episode, this is by far my favorite. I feel that this is the best and my favorite Van Damme performance out of all these movies. I think his delivery is better in this film. Now, granted, he's had a lot of time to practice.
Yeah,
because like English isn't his first language.
Yeah, and outside of JCVD, I think this was the newest one we watched.
Yeah, I had never.
It was actually right before Street Fighter.
Actually, I take that back.
I had never seen this movie,
but like by 6 months, so it's close enough.
I just thought that I remember the trailer, him in his whitey tighties doing a split on a kitchen counter, and that's all I remembered. And I rented it last night, and I don't regret spending a single penny of that $3 for this movie.
A whopping $3.
Whopping $3 hairs.
$3 dues.
I gave Time Cop a 4 stars.
Wow.
And I even said for a bit if I would get the Time Cop poster tattooed on my thigh.
I'm trying to convince him to get it on his left ass cheek.
If I'm getting the movie poster of Time Cop tattooed on me, I want to fucking see it.
That's fair.
Without looking into a mirror, okay?
God damn it.
I think Time Cop was one of, if not his biggest commercial success.
It apparently made a pretty good bang, like over 100 million at the time.
Like Time Cop and Street Fighter were his last 2 big successes, because then he did The Quest, which wasn't terrible, but
he actually directed that one. Right?
Yeah, I wanted to watch that one for this, but again, Time Cop.
There was also the one, I forget the name of it, the one where he was in, like a Secret Service guy, and the vice president was being held in a hockey rink.
Oh, the Die Hard, but at a hockey rink. I forgot the name of that one.
That one wasn't terrible, but it was very forgettable. But it wasn't until Double Team with Dennis Rodman that he had his first box office bomb, and it was downhill from there. That much I know for sure.
Also, I had no idea. I mean, granted, how would I know? I've never seen this film. But Mia Sara was in this film, and I just remember her from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah.
She plays Walker. That's Jean-Claude Van Damme's character. Melissa, his wife. No, not the Texas Ranger. Walker, the Time Cop. You see, Grant, if I was a Time Cop, I would have had enough time to see all the fucking movies for this show. But, in this universe, time travel is just fucking, discovered one day. And this police officer, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme, is about to get a promotion to become a Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Which, I mean, I think it's self-explanatory why Time Cop is.
Oh, yeah.
You have been chosen to police time.
You're going to police. I mean, it's kind of like
I imagine like Owen Wilson coming out just being like,
I mean,
wow.
It is funny. Like, we watch this like after Loki wraps up. It's like, well, you know what? It's just like inspiration for the TVA, inspiration for like fucking Minority Report.
I'm pretty sure Time Cop was a comic book movie.
I know. You see, we saw that. I had no idea until we saw, because I saw Dark Horse was involved.
Yeah.
And also, at least from 2 of the movies we saw, I believe Jean-Claude owes Sam Raimi a big old high five, because he funded a lot of his shit.
Yeah, there was a lot of these movies when we were watching the credits was produced by Sam Raimi.
Well, Sam Raimi was actually the backup director and executive producer on Hard Target.
That makes sense.
It was John Woo's first film. So if the studio lost faith
it was his first English.
American, yeah. If the studio had lost faith in John Woo, then Sam Raimi was going to be the one to take it over.
I could see it.
Yeah. But
especially that era Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm. But before Time Cop becomes Time Cop, his wife is murdered.
Gasp.
Okay, let's back up a little bit, because right before she is just obliterated.
The whole part, right?
Right before.
Right before she's obliterated, huh?
She is They go to Pound Town.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna lie, it
was steamy. It was spicy.
It was sexy.
My review on Letterboxd.
Best sex scene I've seen in a while.
My review on Letterboxd, I say like at least 5 minutes in, you get the camera goes right up Jean-Claude's hole,
Like I
right
mean,
there.
Like when I was
see
saying
his-
earlier, you see his asshole. We are not joking.
It's just right there.
Like
Like the motherfucker is doing the splits in bed and just like make sure you get my one-eyed starfish. You
speaking of
heard?
Sam Raimi, you know, like that fucking the Sam Raimi shot where it's like the hyper zoom. Yeah, they fucking did that to his butthole.
So just the Evil Dead tracking shot right up the sphincter.
Yes.
We've seen
That was
two
a
movies
colonoscopy.
involving starfish. That's peculiar.
He's
What's
talking about the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, which you need to watch. It's really
it's
good.
fantastic.
Oh man,
I didn't see-
Jean-Claude
there-
Van Damme. The Suicide Squad is good.
There's just like wax and petroleum jelly all over that lens screen, and he's just like mashing his wife's titties. I'm like, this is hot. I need.
But yeah, but
It's like y'all need to stop. Y'all doing
This is a little too heterosexual for me.
But
Okay.
after Pound Town, she dies because the house explodes.
Like the humongous ass explosion you could imagine. Right before he goes to work, at Time Cop place, like these just jerk offs from the future show up, looking just like fashion rejects. Because like you have who's like the big tough in the movie. It's like he has these metal bracelets on his go up his entire calves, like shaved on top, but just like the gushiest mullet. Just
How come
blonde out.
every
Like
90s movie they thought like future hair involved like a bald head but like 3 ponytails in the back or some shit?
Yeah,
like it never made a lot of sense to me.
It's
I blame Mario Brothers for some reason. I don't know.
It's like the like a lot of these like goon minions are like reject cyberpunk characters from like fucking Akira or something.
But before we continue, I do want to add, before the house blows up, before he has to leave on a call that he gets, she says she has something very important to tell him. But then he says, "Can I wait till I get back?" And then she says, "Sure." And then the house explodes.
Honey, I forgot.
Not that quick, but
It's like, honey, I forgot to tell you, there's a gas leak.
Honey, I blew up the house, starring Rick Moranis.
Honey, there's been some weird beeping coming from the basement. I was just gonna, I can wait. It's
honey,
fine.
I shrunk our bank account. Really, that didn't land? God damn it!
Oh, I thought it was
I mean,
funny.
a
You
lot
just got me
of money in damages, man. Come on. Anyway,
he shrunk his bank account for buying this $3 million house.
Anyway, we fast forward
Time
10
cop.
years into the future, and it's 2004. 3 years before the clapper.
fuck off.
3 years after the clapper. Damn it, I fucked up my own bitch. Shit.
God, the far distant future of 2004.
It's only 10 years after this movie is like set to come out.
Yeah.
So like, and it's fun to think we're watching this movie in 2021. So it's just like literally 18 years
Yeah,
later.
but it's like Jonathan said earlier, I loved when movies from a long time ago like gave us their vision of what the future would be.
Yeah.
I've always found, you know what? I thought that weird square box. Did you notice that there was like some wood paneling on it too? They made it look
Really?
like somewhat like a station wagon while looking like a box.
Yeah, the boxiest car in the imagine, but like all this like needless accoutrements on it, like just like piping and like I felt like it was just like I feel like I was gonna suffocate because just all this just shit in there, and but plus everything's covered in like a white carpet.
So we like go to it's the 20s, right? Stock market
Yeah,
crash.
1929.
Yeah.
And this guy is there, and like Back to the Future style, like instead of the sports almanac, he's slapping like a modern day USA Today on the table, and he's like comparing stocks and shit. It was going by so fast, I really didn't know what was going on. But he's like, you know,
you got the general
like
gist.
buying all kinds of stocks and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, this ripple. Ooh. As cheesy as it was, I dug the ripple effect.
Yeah,
like the
I-
time ripples, like Jean-Claude just like, whoop. You have to come with me.
And I will say for early 90s special effects,
not the worst.
bad.
Not the worst.
Yeah, for like basically what's the infancy of CGI, it looked pretty okay.
Yeah.
And it turns out that this guy was his former partner, and he is going back in time to just, make money. And then this leads to down this road where they find out that this senator is eventually going to become corrupt and then run for president.
A corrupt politician.
And
Perish the thought.
And then he has his own prototype time machine that he goes back and makes little changes here or there to put the election in his favor. And it was around the time like the actual plot of the movie gets introduced where I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, it opened with some good old boys getting shot, and then in current 2004, something was purchased with the Confederate bullion that they found.
Yeah.
Well, that the dude stole from them and murdered, whatever. But anyway, shenanigans ensue.
As they often do.
They often do. And, you know, I'm always a sucker for time travel. It's not the most tightly wound time travel movie, but I still thought it was pretty fun for what it was.
Yeah, like especially towards the end where like there's the two John Claudes and it's like, some of this is like a little wibbly-wobbly, but I'm here for it.
The second movie where he has to like team up with himself to save the day.
Yeah, but oh shit. The way they time traveled was a little wonky to me. I'm going to try to make this quick because I think it's about break time.
Yeah, just about.
All right, but how they go back in time is like this weird little car that's on tracks, and they just go. But then when they arrive at their destination, they're just like either like fly out of the sky, out of the ripple, and just land. I was like, do they park this shit at like a time machine parking garage or some shit? I don't know.
They're
It's
just
weird.
like a void in space where it's sitting there, and then they hit the little like wristwatch or some little gadget, and then they just appear back on the little spaceship and then come back through the Stargate.
What if it's like when they go through that flash, there's a little midpoint where there's a big wall like the crash test dummies used to hit, and the car hits it and just rockets them through the time windshield, through the time vortex, and just lands them there.
Well,
and then when they go back, the ripple just drops them back in there. Just like,
I don't remember the scene word for word, but Jean-Claude and somebody gets into the time machine, and then it's like, what happens when we hit so-and-so? And he goes, maybe we should ask these two. He goes, oh, where are these two? And then he points, and there's like two blood splatters on the wall, and she's just like, big gulp, and just...
oh, the internal affairs lady.
The black lady cop
You guys remember
who
when-
like had the unfortunate side effect of dying twice in this movie.
Ugh. Do you remember
Yeah.
when crash test dummies were popular for the kids?
I
and
had
shit?
those
Yeah, I remember
toys.
those.
I had the
the
car.
shit out of
There was a
those toys.
cartoon too.
Yeah.
I blame
Oh,
them
yeah.
for my love of the Burnout series.
Oh, that's such a fucking good series.
It's great. The old
They
ones
need
are
to
so
bring
much
it
better.
Back.
Yeah.
Bring back good Burnout.
Yes, good Burnout. But
Make good burnout great again.
I guess we're going to take a break and wrap up Time Cop and then go on to other shit.
We got a little time to wrap up Time Cop.
Oh, we still got time to wrap up?
Yeah, you got a few minutes.
Never mind.
There
There was a bit in this movie where, let me just cut to the fucking end here. Eventually, the senator,
Who teams up with his self.
himself. Another gimmick in this movie, two pieces of matter can occupy the same space at once. That's the gimmick of this film. So, if there's two Martys and they touch each other, they're going to turn into a big old puddle of goop. Spoilers, apparently.
Yeah, so
That was a Veggie Tale type effect on that shit.
yeah, because the little ripple effect, not bad, but when the bad guys moosh and goose into this horror blob, it's it's a little dodgy. It gave me flashbacks to when the bad guy in the first Blade movie just turned into a blood blob and exploded.
that
God.
Steven Dorff effect. It was terrible.
But
Sometimes motherfuckers want to skate up.
Sometimes motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill.
sometimes
He
motherfuckers
got
just want
it.
to take a time machine back home. But in the end, Walker goes back to his wife. They, surprisingly enough, go back to the day where... Wait a minute. I'm forgetting one major thing. The blood.
The goop.
Why did he go for the blood? Because remember, that's how he found out that the thing that his wife was going to tell him that she's pregnant. And he goes to get blood. Oh, that's right, because the cop, the other time cop, needed like the blood work done or something, right?
I'll be honest. There's definitely some part of this movie that I just like.
Anyway,
yeah, sure.
The point is, he finds his wife's blood vial in there too, with a file like wrapped around it or some shit, like a
Post-it note wrapped around it.
And he finds out that she's pregnant. He's like, "Oh man, now I got a super saver."
And then it leads to this like really circuitous plot where Jean-Claude Van Damme basically saves her, and then saves the day, and then he goes back, and then he starts like talking about shit that technically happened in the past, or but then wibbly lobbly timey wimey, and but like he's like, but everyone's like, what the fuck you talking about, bro? And it's like, y'all work for like a time agency. Like, if he's talking about shit you don't know, can't you just assume like?
Yeah, they didn't have like the whole like variant thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is the main timeline. This is the shit that spins out of control when you fuck up.
Well, I will say, like, my minor gripes. Like, I think the villain McComb, played by Ron Silver, I thought he was a little weak. I will say, I like a lot. It's always kind of a highlight to see Bruce McGill in things. Mm-hmm. He was Matzuek, his friend, Time Cop's friend.
Yeah.
And you can bleep this out if you have to, because he might listen to the show or not. I don't know. But when I saw the character Ricky, I was like, wow, how did Jesse score a role in this movie?
Because he was like the
like, just for reference,
guy. Like I remember that guy.
But like, if Jesse was like a sleazy piece of shit.
Yeah. We love you, Jesse.
Yeah, you're awesome.
We love you, Bleep, or whatever.
Bleep.
That's fine.
We love Bleep from Bleep.
Nobody knows. It's fine.
Shout out to Bleep.
But either way, it's silly time travel shenanigans, and this was my favorite one out of the bunch we've seen.
I will say, it's a fair. I do wish that the kind of climactic battles at the final act of the film wasn't in like a pitch black.
Yes,
house.
God, that was fucking
you
annoying.
couldn't like see shit.
That was stupid. I did hate that. And like you mentioned earlier, like the set design, and this was a really well shot film. Probably the best shot movie, in my opinion.
I mean, like, especially when you compare it to like the other early '90s film that he was in. Like, they're contemporaries. They're right next door to each other, but like the quality of film and like how it was filmed, it's like night and day how they look. Yeah. So like, this is the prettiest looking film, probably like they had like better cameras or like a new type of film. Either way, it's significantly different in terms of visuals. When you compare like Street Fighter and Hard Target.
Well, this one had the bigger budget for
and
sure.
Time
yeah.
Anyway,
good times.
Yeah,
good times, cops.
So now we're gonna take a quick little break. To 99%, I'm gonna reuse a commercial from before. So enjoy the commercial. And we will be right back with Hard Target and Street Fighter and Bloodsport.
Jean-Claude has a better kick than Chuck Norris.
I mean, I would agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Caging Greatness. If you enjoy what you're hearing, stay tuned for the second half of tonight's show. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to support the show financially, find our merch store at tpublic.com/user/caginggreatness. Or just send us money. We appreciate money. Enjoy the rest of the show and never let anyone cage your greatness.
Jean-Claude pulled the camera out of his ass in Time Cop.
God, I wish we were recording that.
I'm pretty sure we are.
We did record the part about the camera in Jean-Claude's ass.
That is when you hit record?
This
Well, he was getting ready.
I
like,
noticed some shit with the stuff, and I had to do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just
We couldn't pause it. We had to let it out.
We did have to let the feelings
I'm
out.
sorry.
We had a polka dot man.
I'm sorry that
our
were
bits
prematurely made content. That sounds like a you problem.
prematurely content elated.
Sounds like a you need to get your shit together faster problem.
I'm sorry.
Record
doing my best.
record every day, all the time, and then just put then we just have like a little special episode called "Best of the Bits."
This is not the Truman Show, bruh.
Well, it can be.
But
could
in
be.
case it isn't, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
God, I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
And to all the
Really?
Yeah, it's something I've been wanting to see for years, just never got a chance.
I feel like Carey got robbed because he deserved the Oscar, at least a nomination. It's bullshit that he didn't get either. He was incredible in that. Everybody was incredible in that film, especially Ed Harris, who came in with like 2 days' notice.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, Ed Harris is a fantastic actor.
yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
so good, so good. Anyway, Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's what we're discussing. So let's get to a movie that Pat didn't get the chance to watch.
And I'm pissed because this was the gayest movie of the bunch, and I was like, God damn it!
So much so, yes. Bloodsport. So, Jonathan, what was your Bloodsport rating?
All right, I'm not going to rub the tip. I'm just going to go out and say this was my favorite. I'm not going to say the thing I've been saying ad nauseum.
You should say it.
Because the audience hasn't heard
The
it.
audience hasn't heard it, but I know y'all are sick and tired of me saying it.
We're all friends here.
I am a slut for tournament movies.
Boom.
Yeah.
And just like I love martial arts, I love Bruce Lee, I love all that shit, right? And this is just like Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat without the supernatural shit. And I don't know. We'll get into the specifics, but like it's fucking good.
It's a good time. What was your rating?
4.
Pat, I love you. Cannon, what was your rating?
3.5.
Fair. Thoughts on the movie?
I thought that he did the splits a lot.
What was,
No.
What was the final count? Because
7.
7,
I
yes,
believe,
right.
yes. But I will say I did enjoy this movie. I thought the bad guy was the whitest man from tit to neck I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, from like booby up.
Yeah, everything
dude
else was very
fucking
narrow on him.
massive.
Yeah.
Bolo Young's-A.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, Bolo Young's fantastic.
I thought
That guy.
the story was cool.
Wait, hold on. Forrest Whitaker was in this movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Holy
a
shit.
very young Forrest
Very,
Whitaker.
very
I
young
didn't
Forrest
know he
Whitaker.
was in this
Like
movie.
he had hair and everything.
yeah.
But I legitimately had a good time. 3.5. Yeah. That's how I feel.
Very cool.
I will say, like, for me, this was the inverse of Time Cop, where, like, it started out and I'm like, I am not having a good time. But by the end of it, I'm like, this is, like, maybe the best fucking movie ever. Maybe not that extreme, but you know.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, we'll get to the bits that I really enjoyed about it.
Well, again, as I stated in the beginning of the show, this has been one of my favorite movies for many, many moons. So, yeah, no, it's a 5-star. Like, this movie is just about the perfect 80s action movie to me. Bolo Young's fantastic in it. You know, Forrest Whitaker's there. Fucking Ray Tiny Jackson, who played Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds, is one of my all-time favorite character actors,
Yeah.
just from 2 things. And he was also in Bloodsport 2, the only returning character.
Really?
Okay.
Huh. On that fact alone, I will check it out. Wow, that's what he's looking like these days. You know
Rest of
what?
it's not
good on him.
Who, Bolo Young? Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he great guy.
I loved him in the Revenge of the Nerds movies.
My headcanon is that that's the same character.
Yeah.
He graduated college and decided to take up tournament fighting in the underground.
He was just like, I must go to the Kumite.
Hey, see, that's the thing. Like, you think you're going to do one thing at going through college, and then when you get out of it, you get a completely different career path, and when you know it, it's blood sports.
Well, I think if that is indeed your headcanon, it kind of fits that. And I don't mean to jump ahead, but we do this shit all the time. When his character is introduced in the movie, he's kind of portrayed as a little bit of a sleazeball because he's trying to get the attention of that woman on the bus.
Yeah, and he's kind of being a gross man.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it.
And
Just
then
like,
Almost like an ogre.
yeah, like, just like being like sleazy and sexist and shit. But then like that's really like the only time in the movie after that, like after like Jean-Claude gives him a stern talking to, they're like best buds.
No, there wasn't even a stern talking to. They bonded over video games. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. He Jean-Claude beat the fuck out of him in a video game.
Because I thought
A very
that scene,
Street Fighter-esque video game.
I thought that scene was gonna. I thought the next shot was gonna be Jean-Claude going, "Hey, leave her alone" or whatnot. But that didn't happen in the next shot. There, in this hotel playing video games.
Yeah, playing video games.
I'm going to give the overview for the movie plot.
All right.
Jean-Claude Van Damme plays Frank Dukes. He goes AWOL to fight in a tournament because he was trained by a man whose son died in said tournament. So he goes to win the tournament. He meets a reporter lady whom he has sex with. He meets Ray Tiny Jackson, who he very clearly wants to have sex with.
Oh yeah, like they have more sexual chemistry than he does with the reporter.
Not wrong.
Because the lady's just there to throw off the gay vibe.
It's just like a bunch of no homo.
After they meet, he fights in the tournament while having flashbacks to his training. He wins the tournament. He goes back to the army.
Yeah, it's very straightforward.
There's a very long flashback at the very beginning. I was like, there was one point, I look at Jonathan, I'm like, how fucking long is he standing in this living room staring at this sword?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Because sort of like the overall like plot construction, how it delivers the exposition of where we're getting to for the Kumite is he goes to his master's house and he sees the katana sitting on the mantelpiece and just stares at it and has this like, it had to be like 30-minute flashback.
I thought at least 20 minutes, like dead ass.
Now, the most enjoyable part of this movie to me is something I went over with you guys because I got here right as you were finishing the movie before we watched Suicide Squad, which is fantastic. So
It's
you guys
very
should
good.
go watch it.
So great. So great.
Is that this movie says it's based on a true story of the real life Frank Dukes, who claims to have 50-something martial arts records. Here's the thing. Frank Dukes
It's a bit of a bullshitter.
a bit,
It's just a wee bit.
putting it mildly. He only ever had one witness to the Kumite he supposedly fought in, who immediately backtracked on every statement he made and said he was coached by Frank Dukes. He tried to present a picture of himself in his service uniform. The medals were all out of place.
Because they have to be in a particular order.
And there was a particular one, I want to say, hang on, I'm looking it up now.
Was it the Medal of Honor?
It was the Medal of Honor, but the one in the photograph is the one given to the Army, and Frank Dukes claimed to be a Marine. And then he said that the military was trying to wash away his service record to discredit him. And then he said it was just a Halloween costume. Let's see. He claims to have been... Okay, all the Kumite shit. Yeah. No one ever corroborated any of it, except for the one guy who was a friend of Frank Dukes' who was told to do it, who then backtracked. Let's see. His this is my favorite one. His master was named Shinzo Tiger Tanaka, who apparently, according to all the research done, did not exist. And also had the same name as a ninja commander from the Ian Fleming James Bond novel You Only Live Twice.
Oh.
To which Frank Duke said, Fleming used to base his characters on real people. Yeah. So
The level of detachment from reality this man has is fucking unreal.
I want to know this. Like, where's the documentary following this guy? How he just bullshits his way into like Hollywood. I got a picture for you.
Well,
it's about me.
And knowing what little I do about like martial arts movies in particular, it's surprisingly common how much people just like make shit up.
Yeah, I fought the 99 Dragons and claimed the dagger. You gonna tell me no?
And there's like no record of any of this existing.
And to bring it back, this is by far the best part. Someone asked him what happened to the sword you were presented with at the Kumite. And he says he sold it in a failed attempt to buy the freedom of a boat full of orphans who he later rescued from pirates right before he stopped a plot to assassinate Steven Seagal.
I don't know. That might have really happened.
But knowing what we know of Steven Seagal, I feel like both those goals are counterintuitive.
I think it was Steven Seagal who put the kids on the boat in the first place, and the assassination were the good guys trying to stop them.
So
Probably.
I'm cherry picking the best parts, but this is all on his Wikipedia page. That's Frank, normal Frank, not Postman Frank, but just Frank. Dukes is spelled Dux. Look for disputed claims. That's where you want to go for the good shit.
Which might be the longest part of his page.
It is 3 times the size of everything else on that Wikipedia page.
However, despite him being a lying sack of shit,
Right.
He told a good story.
Yeah, Bloodsport.
yeah, Bloodsport, like the movie is actually really good.
Like Bloodsport and Kickboxer, which you would also like.
Yeah.
That one, Kickboxer, just to give you the brief summation, Jean-Claude Van Damme is the corner man for his brother who does some kickboxing. His brother challenges Tong Po, the crime sort of leader of the whole Thailand kickboxing area, and gets just his shit wrecked. Like his back is broken, he's in a wheelchair, he's paralyzed. Like Tong Po just fucks him up, right? And so Jean-Claude's like, I have to avenge my brother, who sounds American, even though I am clearly not, but we say that I was raised in France to explain away the discrepancy. That's the last time I'll be doing this in my career. And so he finds his brother's teacher, and he gets taught how to do Muay Thai. And then he challenges Tong Po, who takes his brother and his lady friend hostage. Lady friend is the daughter of the person who trained him.
Of course.
Naturally. There's also a funny drug-addled black sidekick, because why not? It's the 80s.
Yeah, well, but Christman's like, why?
Yeah. And
Why this stereotype?
And then they fight in an underground arena where they dip their hands in glue and then dip them in glass and then fight each other like that.
Hell yeah.
And that part was lampooned in Hot Shots Part 2, starring Charlie Sheen, where he dipped his hands in chocolate and then in gummies and crushed up Oreos.
And if I remember correctly, that was actually replicated in a very old ECW match.
Yeah.
I forgot the participants.
And to bring it even further into wrestling, they rebooted Kickboxer not too long ago, where Van Damme plays the wise old teacher and Dave Batista is Tong Po. Also, they use swords and Batista dies. Because in the original, Tong Po didn't die. And then in the very beginning of Kickboxer 2, they have a new character because nobody came back. So, oh no, Jean-Claude and his brother were assassinated by the bad guys. Your happy ending is worthless. Fuck you. But nobody saw that because it was direct to video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there was 4 blood sports I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, honestly, when you guys watch Kickboxer, because I'm sure you'll want to, it's fun. There will be points where you can't remember which one is which. They blend together really, really well.
I believe it.
Yeah, because they sound like very similar movies.
I didn't. There was a moment in the movie where it, and I think we talked about it when we were watching it. It seemed like as the rounds progressed, the mat changed for some reason.
Yeah, like first it was like, just a giant square thing, like mat.
Yeah.
And then like by the end, it's like a lot skinnier and the ends are elevated.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a crappy half
Like, I
pipe.
shit you not, I swear it evolved. Like, it was like just big, flat, almost like wrestling ring size square, and then it turned into almost like a rectangle, and then by the end of the movie, it was almost a skate ramp.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it was odd.
It's not like it's just like the Super Smash
No,
Brothers
I know
stages
they
are
did
just
that in the
changing.
movie for reasons. I'm not saying that like it fucked with me or anything. I thought it was kind of cool, but I was just like,
It's something they don't really address
if
that I remember.
one of the ways to eliminate your opponent is literally just knocking them off the board, and if you do that, well, shit. At that point, I would just like move out the way, let the dude swing and fall off. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But granted, some of the dudes are really big.
Yeah, like the main villain, like I said, like when I say he is wide from titties to his neck, but everything else is just like a normal body size, that's legit.
Like,
Also-
the man really loves chest day.
Yeah, no, he was a competitive bodybuilder.
I believe it.
Yeah.
He was also in a couple like Bruce Lee movies, right?
He was. And apparently he's like the nicest, sweetest guy in real life.
That's
Hell
awesome.
yeah. That's awesome.
For a man who played almost exclusively villains in his career.
Yeah, and he's a bastard in this movie.
Oh, yeah, he sucks.
But I will say, for somebody who is just the shittiest of shit heels, the way he celebrates, I swear, it's like you're telling a 5-year-old that they're going to Chuck E. Cheese for their birthday. It's like, yeah, just waving their arms around.
You know
just
what?
like up and down, like, yeah. It's I mean, God, I hate to bring this up, but you know what it reminds me of?
Lex Luger going the torture rack symbol.
No, but Eugene.
Oh, God. Yeah. No, I can see that.
It reminds me of the fucking Keanu Reeves memes where he's like shrunk. Wake up, mommy! I pissed the bed.
Well, the reason why he can only move his arms up and down a little bit because like it's literally his pecs are so big they're deflect any other range of movement. He's just like
Like if he raises his hand to answer a question, like he'll like tear his titty off like Triple H's quad taking a step. Just
Just to provide a bit more context to earlier, when Cannon said Eugene, that's not someone we know personally. It's a wrestler named Nick Dinsmore who, in the WWE, portrayed a character named Eugene, who was General Manager Eric Bischoff's nephew, and who was also, unfortunately, very mentally handicapped, and was portrayed as such in an over-the-top, stereotypical way that even for the mid-2000s was incredibly distasteful.
yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
That's
You
gross.
mean to tell me that Vincent, Mr. McMahon, is not a bastion of good taste? And
Believe it or not, Vincent Kennedy McMahon might just be a giant shithead.
It just seems like he's like fucking breaking world records of how much of a piece of shit he can be. It's just like anytime where I'm like, okay, I found bedrock. It's like, no,
Yep.
we haven't even got close to that shit.
Nope.
just imagine the day he dies, like. And finally, all the feathers are torn off, and everybody comes out of the woodwork. You won't believe this shit. Like everybody has a tell-all.
Yep.
I will say the friendship between him and Ogre was one of the highlights of this movie for me. I really loved them as buds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
because
it felt sincere.
yeah, because
Like-
Ray Jackson, he just really cared.
Yeah.
He really fucking cared.
He seems like the sort of guy you'd want to be your pal.
Yeah, like I'm so glad he didn't die in that movie. I
Yeah.
thought that was it for him.
Yeah, I thought we were. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to talk anymore. But yeah, like you, I was like, oh no, he's going to die because of course he goes up against the villain Chong Li.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Chun Li from Street Fighter,
Which we'll get to.
Which we'll get to.
But skipping past like the first 30 minutes because that's the most forgettable part of the movie.
Yeah.
Once like the actual like fighting starts, like the matches are like rapid fire. Like it's a bunch of characters aren't even named, but they have like very distinct characters just in the way they fight.
Yeah.
And like and most fights go about like 30 seconds to a minute, which most real fights do.
Yeah, in the beginning of the film, well, somewhat, I don't know, like, yeah, after the beginning, you get like a brief, like montage of like like most of the fighters that are there, and you get to see like how their actual fighting style is. And I mean, it's actually, pretty cool, and it has that, everybody loves the Mount Towers music,
Yeah, like a rip-off Top Gun sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's all in good fun.
And then like the actual like soundtrack is like very like synthy and 80s. It's like,
but then people start singing, and that's when you're like, ew.
Yeah, I was just like, we could not do this.
Is there an instrumental version, perhaps?
Yeah, but
and also the reporter character. This is one of the low points to me, at least.
Hands down.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those that really didn't need to be in the movie.
Like you could cut that character out of the movie entirely and lose nothing.
Yeah, because she's a reporter. She's known about this quote unquote secret fighting tournament for years, so she knows what happens here. She knows there's ultra violence. She knows people die here and whatnot. She's there to try to learn more, and she's in like the hotel bar where all of them are staying, like trying to get some scoops and shit. Yeah. And then later on, she eventually gets feelings for Dukes.
Yeah.
and then actually ends up attending one of the fights, and then all of a sudden just has a change of heart. Just like, oh no, this is so bad. I was like, but you knew this was bad.
I mean, and for a tournament,
it's a cliche. Oh, I changed my conscience. Oh no.
Oh, the brutality.
Oh,
but like,
it's so bad.
But like for a full contact fighting tournament, like even in the story isn't really that. I mean, of course, it's going to be violent. There's going to be blood and stuff, but it's not like the worst.
Yeah,
it's not actually Mortal Kombat where like hearts are getting like ripped out of chest.
Yeah, and there's like really strict rules to it too. Like you can't fight outside the ring or you get disqualified.
And there are a lot of studies that actually show that bare knuckle and just regular fighting without gloves or pads and whatnot is less dangerous than like modern day boxing gloves.
Oh yeah, like they say like UFC is safer than just boxing because you have like more padding on your hands. You're not holding back.
Yeah, well, the boxing glove spreads all that force around, so it moves the entire head, which leads to more traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, it's sort of like with they say rugby is a lot safer than American football because you're all padded up. You just reckless abandon.
Right.
I didn't mean to like start giggling after you started talking about head injuries, but no, I just had a
fucking CTE.
No,
the funniest shit ever.
No, I just stands for comedy time. Anytime.
I just remembered while Jonathan and I were watching the film that I said at one point, it's like, wow, a young Dana White is watching this, and this is how UFC was born.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
Like no doubt in my mind.
Because like, what was that shit that happened like during like the heavy part of COVID? Like he was going to get an island and have people fight on it. That's blood sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which like honestly like. This is about as violent as UFC. Like Chong Li does kill a guy at one point, and people kind of like.
Well, no, the reaction from the crowd to that was so clearly designed to make you understand that doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. How dare he?
Yeah, but it
does happen. They established that it has happened. At times.
Yeah, and they kind of let it slide, but it's like frowned upon, or like.
Because he intentionally murdered that dude.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to accidentally kill a guy. I think they try to make that clear. It's one thing to accidentally kill somebody, but like Chong Li just fucking murdered him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, is it when he beats the shit out of Ray Jackson where like the guys running the tournament like turn their back on him literally?
Yeah.
Where like he's like
no, it wasn't that. It was when he actually killed one of the people.
That was what I said. The reaction when he killed him. That's when they turned their back.
Yeah. He was like trying to seek approval, and they're like, "Fuck this shit, man."
Yeah. I mean, the people there know what they're in for. Like, there's people just openly betting on fights.
Yeah,
they're there to watch. Blood sport. It's a sport, you see.
So
for blood.
Real quick to wrap up Bloodsport. Pat mentioned Mortal Kombat.
Yup.
So the creators of Mortal Kombat, a lot of people know this, and I think I've mentioned it on the show before. The creators of Mortal Kombat wanted to make a Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting game. And there's no real concrete evidence what it was going to be based on. A lot of people think Universal Soldier because that was what was popular at the time. But it said that they sent a still of Van Damme from Bloodsport to, but put their own assets behind it, like the levels and shit, and sent it to him as a proof of concept. But he backed out, so they just made Mortal Kombat, and the character that was going to be Van Damme turned into Johnny Cage, who they named after. That's right, Nicolas Cage.
And then he does the split punch to the nuts like he does in this movie.
Also, that was supposed to be a shot to the bladder, not the balls.
The bladder.
Yeah, no, that's
well, yeah, that's like a legit like tactic in a fight because like you can hit someone in the bladder and it fucks them up.
Yeah, so it wasn't supposed to be a nut shot, but that's what it looked like.
Or you can hit them in the balls.
Yeah, that too.
Did we say our star ratings for Bloodsport?
I did. I said
I said 4.
Okay,
3.5 for me.
Yeah,
I said 5.
Also, piss his sword in the balls.
And
that's not.
and out of all these movies, has the record for the most Van Damme splits.
Yeah,
we counted 7.
There were a lot.
7. And the final fight, man, he's channeling that fucking Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Just the grunts and noises he's making.
Yep.
Just like every vein you can see pulsating. In his
And when
body.
like fucking Chong Li like literally like pocket sands his ass, he's just like, oh.
and I finally saw the fucking gift. Just you just can't see. Fuck. So good. Aldo, what did you think of Bloodsport?
He liked it.
Why don't you blink?
So, for the next movie,
He's dead on the inside.
Now, this isn't my favorite Van Damme movie. Well, that's the one we're talking about last.
Yeah.
But this one is right there with it. Like, this is a close second.
Yeah, like this was my favorite. I definitely say it's not like objectively the best. There is a lot like you could criticize about it, but I just love like the structure. I love how like I said, there's a lot of fights, but they're like really quick.
Yeah. Like even the fights themselves are like montages, except for like the main ones involving main characters and whatnot.
Yeah. There's some that are definitely longer.
It's like
than others.
I too enjoy like a good tournament movie. It's like we talked about it. Like I've seen a lot of martial arts movies, especially when I was younger. Like I knocked out all of like the old Jackie Chan movies left and right. And but I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I had a good time.
Yeah. Also, this is like fuck it. He looked young.
Yeah, it was like
even
88.
Yeah, it was his first major movie.
Yeah, and then from that to like even like Hard Target, it's like wow, he aged up.
And
quite a
Hard
bit.
Target is the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like I legit was searching for his first credited role where his character name is legit Gay Karate Man.
Yeah.
He is listed as Gay Karate Man.
Yeah.
Gay Karate
And like I thought I could find it. The movie, I forgot what it's called, but it's legit only it's under an hour. I was even looking for it on YouTube, couldn't find it anywhere.
So now we're moving on to Hard Target, my second favorite Van Damme movie. I love this movie. Jonathan, what was your rating? What did you think of Hard Target?
I gave it 3.5. This is definitely the most like but the fucking sane one. I will say that it's John Woo's first English language movie. Mm-hmm. John Woo. There's doves. I was actually doing. We were doing like a dove/bird counter, and I lost track. I was just like, fuck it.
We legit got to about 50 and we said fuck it.
That sounds about right.
And it's all in like the last 15 minutes. But
So 3.5 stars from you.
yeah.
Pat, what did you think of Hard Target?
You mean Harry Target?
Hard Target.
Yeah, Hard Target. It was a goofball of a movie. I appreciate how silly it was and its weird moments of like seriousness. But I had a good time with it. I believe I gave this 3.5.
That's fair. Cannon?
Again, it's weird. We are almost always on the same wavelength. I also gave it 3.5. Never seen this movie again. It was batshit insane. It had a really strong villain, in my opinion. Like, I really dug the villain in this movie, and we'll get to what this movie is. But with my first viewing, 3.5. I had a good time. Also, the lead actress doesn't blink.
She does not.
Well, that's probably from all the substance that she's abused over the last 30 years.
Well, that I wouldn't think that before, but Yancey Butler, I made the joke that she was like the prototype for Denise Richards, just like big baby doll blue
that's
eyes,
a fair comparison.
and then just like really sharp eyebrows.
So, like I said, this is probably my second favorite Van Damme movie. Like, I love Bloodsport, and I gave it a higher rating than this, but that's because it's better. This is my favorite, other than the one we'll talk about later. I gave this 4.5 stars because it's batshit insane. Because the villain, like you said, Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo as like the 1-2 punch. They are fantastic.
Man.
And this movie is actually based off The Most Dangerous Game.
Yep.
I mean,
That book where rich people hunt people.
Yeah, I think it was like initially supposed to be like a more direct adaptation, and then John Claude got involved, and he's like, we need to make me look cool.
And well, actually, it was a lot of John Woo. Like, once he got John
really?
Claude, he was like, well, now I've got someone who can do all the fight scenes I want to put in this.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is something we haven't really talked about. Man, fucking John Claude's doing most of his stunts.
Yeah. Well, Bloodsport, he did all. There were no stuntmen in Bloodsport.
Yeah, and I mean, there were a lot of like wide shots where like it's like, oh yeah, you're not faking any of that.
And clearly, Jean Claude wasn't the one surfing on a motorcycle while also firing at an oncoming SUV.
That is true. That is very.
There are definitely like some high end vehicular stunts and like otherwise dangerous moments where they couldn't have. Even his ability is like, you know what, you may be good, but we don't want to risk you breaking your neck.
Do you know what movie was also based on The Most Dangerous Game? That's right. The Pest, starring John Leguizamo.
God damn it.
I was going to say The Condemned, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin, but that too.
Yeah. I just like bringing up The Pest and making people remember that movie's a real thing.
I never knew that movie existed until I met.
Well, you know who played The Most Dangerous Game for real? O.J. Simpson.
God damn it.
But, oh God, did y'all
allegedly?
Did y'all hear that quote that he put out the other day? That the quote is he doesn't go to L.A. anymore because he's afraid he might sit next to the real killer on a bus.
Oh dear.
Are you?
Is he scared he's going to see his reflection? Or
that's real?
Yeah. And then I saw a tweet of him being like, "All right, guys, coronavirus is real. You need to wear a mask."
And I did see an article that he's thinking about a juiced resurgence.
Like the failed show?
Yeah, like his version of Punk'd. Yeah.
I'm okay.
No.
God.
Yeah, I read that the other day, and it is fucking
so bad.
I can't believe this is real because it's not. I just said that last bit
I don't care. No, I'm mad.
He's still reeling from the first thing.
Yeah, I'm just.
I mean, I guess at least he's not into COVID denial.
Yeah. In this one area,
this one specific area,
we can say O.J. Simpson is based.
You see,
this one specific instance, he's better than Joe fucking Rogan.
So the story of Hard Target.
The other day, I realized at work, I was like, you know what? It's been a while since Captain Shimmy's brought up O.J. Simpson, so I figured I would help him out a little bit. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Oh my God.
But Hard Target, though.
Hard Target.
Okay.
The basic story of Hard Target is that Lance Henriksen and Imhotep from The Mummy help rich people hunt homeless people for sport.
Not just homeless people.
Yeah.
Specifically combat veterans.
Right, because they make hard targets.
No.
And then Yancey Butler, who went on to play Witchblade and then have several DUIs, she shows up looking for her father.
Who gets killed in like the first scene in the movie.
Yes, he is the first casualty. And flashes some money and gets mugged, but Van Damme is there because, why not?
I feel like there's that particular scene in a lot of his movies. Like it was in not kick. See, like I haven't even seen Kickboxer. I'm getting these two confused.
Told you.
It's in a Bloodsport. It's in Hard Target.
Yep.
It was in one of the other ones we watched.
It's like
There
the
was also
introductory scene to show he's a badass, and this is the way we demonstrate it by having this beat up a bunch of street toughs.
There was also a bar fight in The Quest. It opened up with it, but it was old Van Damme doing the bar fighting.
Old man Van Damme.
Because the story of The Quest is he's telling the story of the time he won a sick-ass martial arts tournament as a young man.
Ah.
Yeah, it's really derivative. Anyway.
We call that in the business self-plagiarism.
Or the classic CCR example. You remember when the lead singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival got sued for sounding too much like himself on his solo shit?
Yep.
Oh.
VH1 reminded me of that one.
Yeah, there you go.
And then there's that time that Metallica, after starting this very stringent copyright strike thing, got copyright strike on Twitch.
Yeah.
We're playing their own music.
Yeah, they
live.
were playing their own shit, and then
Good. Fuck Lars Ulrich.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was
Which,
one of the
I mean,
funniest
granted,
things that has
Napster-
ever happened in recent memory.
like Napster. Yeah, that did fuck over a lot of smaller artists, but it was Lars Ulrich is.
You already had as much money as you ever needed in your life, Lars. It's spread it around.
Yeah,
So Hard Target.
Hard Target.
Again, we're running out of time on before we need to go to a second break. If we need to,
First time,
break?
second break?
it may be. It depends. I don't know if we can get this one and Street Fighter in 20 minutes.
It'd be a good bit to have two breaks because there's 5 movies talking about.
Yeah.
Break it accordingly.
And then before the show, Justin was like, I don't think we're going to go that long. I was like, oh, honey, just you wait.
This
This is going to be 3 fucking hours.
Well, I said that as reverse psychology, you see.
He was trying to make this show last 45 minutes, knowing that wasn't going to happen.
No, I knew that wasn't going to happen.
No,
I was thinking maybe an hour and a half, but you guys had a lot to say about
I was
Time
about to
Cop.
say, Time Cop was great.
I did not anticipate having that much to say about Time Cop. But
What can I say? I am passionate about my Time Cops.
That's fair.
I'm planning the tattoo on my thigh as we speak.
But Hard Target.
Okay.
Hard Target.
That's the one that's going on my butt.
Also, we mentioned it earlier. John Claude's mullet, fucking 10 out of 10.
It's a good mullet.
It's flowing. It's dripping. It still has all the water in it.
Very reminiscent of Superman's mullet when he came back from the dead.
I was going to say
Yep.
very reminiscent of Billy Ray Cyrus and Achy Breaky Heart.
Oh, it's a much
Yes.
better mullet than that.
I mean,
No, like I said, this is like your standard
early 90s
like
mullet.
a new generation mullet from WWF, like a wet baby oiled Shawn Michaels like diesel mullet, always shiny, always scared you're gonna accidentally touch it and be like, ew, where's the sanitizer?
It's
But why
almost a
is this
Jerry
wet?
curl.
Almost, yes,
yeah. and then going from blood sport to this, it was like, what the fuck?
That was
Yeah.
about 5 years of a difference.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I mean, a lot can happen in 5
I
years.
love the pattern we watch these movies in hindsight, because it's just wow, we went in the most
wild.
random fucking order ever, and it was a fun journey.
So Yancey Butler's looking for her dad.
Yep.
She gets mugged. Jean-Claude helps her. He's trying to get on a boat so he can make some money, but he needs to pay his union dues. After she offers him, I'll give you money to help me find my dad. And he's like, it's not my problem. And so they're like, you can't get on the boat because you owe money. He's like, I'll get the money. And so he's like, I'll take your money. And so they try to find her dad. They don't find her dad. Then they find the dad's body, thanks to the only detective working who isn't on strike or some such, who also ends up very dead because, of course, the only 2 good people of color in the film end up very dead.
Yep.
Very dead.
Which I think they're the only 2 people of color in the movie.
Well, I mean, technically Arnold Vosloo is South African with hints of other things in there.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think he's Caucasian as such.
yeah.
He's just a light skinned
yeah.
with a mixed
That's
heredity.
true. That is true.
Yeah. So anyway, they look for her dad. They find the dad's body. Cop decides to help them. Cop dies. And so then
Because fucking Yancey Butler's like, I'm gonna stick my merry head out the window. Then right when they start, I'm just start unloading onto this open street with this gun, and it's like, you dumb bit.
Okay, I'm going to pause right quick.
Okay.
We're going backtrack to when
I was just giving the overview of the movie in case we don't get to it, and then we go to the parts we like.
I was just going to say my favorite quote of the movie.
Sure.
Because it was around this point in the movie, Jean-Claude goes back to the building where they found her dad dead, and he finds the second dog tag, then gets ambushed by some goons, where one of them fucking says, and this is like top 5 quotes of movie history, "Tell that girlfriend of yours to point her titties north and step on the gas."
Oh, and another fun fact: those 2 goons, their names were Frickin' Frack.
Fantastic.
Hell yeah, that's the type of movie this is.
So basically, the people doing the hunt, Lance Henriksen, getting mad because Van Damme's fucking with their shit. And so they hunt him, like, we're going to hunt him down before we leave. And he runs and finds his uncle who raised him, who is a Cajun, played by Wilford Brimley.
Who's just sniping motherfuckers with a bow and arrow on a horse.
This man is like if Hawkeye was a walrus.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then they fight, and Van Damme wins. And he and his uncle and Yancey Butler go off into the sunset together, all happy. But in the interim, before we get to that, there are a few moments that I made sure I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
All right, let's...
So, one is Arnold Vosloo's performance, I thought was fantastic.
Yes.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a great bad guy.
Like,
Lance Hendrickson's really fucking
Hendrickson was great, but I loved Vosloo's cadence as he's speaking with that slight South African accent he has. It was very menacing, especially when he cut that one fat guy's ear off with scissors.
yes.
That's fucked up.
With
A
giant
great
pair of
bit is when the
scissors.
same fat guy tries to answer a phone through the ear that was just cut off.
And he's just like, fuck!
It's like, this is what gets me, like, other than this movie, like, the bits that I remember from the Darkman sequels and Mummy and the Mummy Returns, I've never seen him in anything. And seeing him in this, that is a disservice to him, because Jesus Christ, he was really good in this.
Yeah.
Like, and this is totally similar subject, but like when I was like imagining him in my mind, even though he has hair in this movie, I'm imagining him bald.
I mean, same. Like, I literally referred to him as Emotep the entire movie.
Yeah, we like when you said what's his actor's name?
Arnold Vosloo.
Arnold Vosloo. Like when you said, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I was Emotep.
Yeah. Also, but I will say, like, and I mentioned this off the pod a couple of times, his name in the movie is Pick, and I know it's not, but for some reason it kind of sounds like a racial slur, and it makes me uncomfortable.
His
Yeah.
full name is Pick Von Cleef, and they call him Von Cleef quite a lot.
No, I heard Pick a lot.
Lance Henderson, he did refer to him as Pick a few times, and it's just like the way he hit it is like, that sounds a little bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not like, looking for the devil where he isn't there, but I'm just like, Pick, that just, I don't know why, to my ear hole it didn't sound pleasant.
Yeah, just the way he said it, it just sounded dirty.
Yeah.
It just sounded like, that sounds offensive.
Very fair. Also, I want to talk about how Jean-Claude Van Damme surfed on a motorcycle
Yes.
while doing playing chicken with an SUV.
While the motorcycle was gushing gas.
Yeah, he jumped over the SUV, so the motorcycle ended up under the SUV, and then turned around and fired a handgun a ridiculous amount of times until all of it went kerblooey.
And like when he rolled over the top of the vehicle after jumping off the motorcycle, he more or less stuck the landing. I mean, he kind of fell on his butt a little bit. Still, like, he hit his feet. It's like,
because when we were watching, I was like, no, he's not. He does stumble. I'm like, but still.
Well, that scene in particular, and I thought that, as crazy as that scene was, I thought they were even going to go crazier. I thought he was going to take his gun. For some reason, I thought his character was going to shoot the leaking gas tank so he could get more momentum off a jump over the truck when the motorcycle explodes and, land on his feet or some shit. But,
Got to keep it realistic, Cannon.
yeah, like all the time sparks flew off the trees when they got shot.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you got to keep it realistic in these John Woo movies.
now, another thing I thought was funny during that sequence, after the vehicle explodes from him motorcycle and shooting it, it's like, he just blew up that woman. Like, he can't see both, but she just happens to be a safe distance away from that enormous fireball, and then they jump off the bridge onto like a train carrying cardboard boxes.
Moving train. Now, again, realism was important for this film, which is why we're going next to what is my favorite scene.
The best scene of the movie, hands down.
By far. They're traipsing through the Louisiana bogs, and he spins Yancey Butler around and goes, "Do you trust me?" And she's like, "Well, I guess." And he's like, "Close your eyes." And he's like, "Okay." And so she closed her eyes, and it looks like she's ready for a kiss because this handsome fellow who's protected me, I got to throw myself.
We're gonna fuck in this swamp.
It's the 90s,
and you know they both got like massive swamp ass right now.
And so he reaches up next to her face and grabs a rattlesnake right under its head and slowly pulls it over her shoulder while she's freaking the fuck out. And it's going like, I'm a rattlesnake, I'm gonna bite you. And so he slaps it real quick twice, just like that. And it's like, I'm a rattlesnake, I'm still gonna fucking bite you. So he punches it in the face, and you see it slowly droop over his hand.
Like it wilts like a cartoon daisy.
Falling unconscious. He knocked a snake out.
Yeah.
And then he bites the rat hole off of the snake and rigs a goddamn booby trap out of it so that when one of the nameless thugs who's trying to hunt him down walks through and trips the wire, the snake launches itself at him and bites him in the face and kills him.
Yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall there in this writing system.
I will say, when we say snake, like this snake was almost like made by Jim Henson.
Yeah, this was
It was clearly a puppet.
6-foot puppet snake, but he knocked his in the world of this film. He knocked the snake out by punching it.
Yeah, like he gave it a love tap first and then knocked the shit out of it.
Yeah, and anytime anyone's holding it, like their hand is really far back on the snake's neck. Like, like if you're handling a snake, especially a poisonous one, you want to have basically your thumb on its head.
Yeah, no, that thing would have bitten him 20 times.
Oh yeah, also, like in the South, we definitely have rattlesnakes. I've seen them in person.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
Oh yeah,
as someone who is terrified.
Cannon's
of snakes.
not a fan of snakes.
My dad's
like
got a
them,
rattlesnake in my family's backyard like 3 weeks ago. He texted me the picture.
Like,
he's real proud of it.
Just for
there were rattlesnakes at my parents' house a week ago.
Yeah, quick story. One time when I was not old enough to smoke cigarettes, I was hanging out behind the shed of where I was living at the time, smoking, and I dropped my lighter, and when I went to pick it up, there was a shelf in the shed, and then as I rise up, it's almost like a 3D film. A snake literally open-jawed, like bites at my nose. It doesn't get me, but it literally snips like almost right in front of my nose, and
that's terrifying.
Granted, snakes already creep me out a bit before that. That is when the fear just like kicked the fuck in. And I just don't like snakes. And it's like one time, like I was going out to the front porch, and I was much older, and I was old enough to smoke cigarettes then. I went outside to go smoke, and it was raining heavily, and the driveway was flooded. And I see a snake just swimming along, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go smoke in the backyard. It's like, I don't like snakes. I'm sorry.
I'm just imagining like that snake's like, yo man, can I catch a light? Just like try to.
When I went to see Honey, We Shrunk the Audience at Disney World, the snake bit, I took my glasses off. That's how real it is, folks. Fair. I don't like it.
Well, there was one night you guys were leaving my house.
I forgot about that.
It's nighttime, and they're walking through the front yard. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but Liz goes, "Oh, it's a snake." And Cannon just runs to his truck.
No, I tell Liz, I was like, "Get in the truck, get in the truck, get in the truck," and I fucking bolt it to the fuck out. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it.
I was right there. I was I don't like snakes either.
It's not fun.
Granted, in this situation, it would have probably been a water moccasin.
Now, see, I get why Jean-Claude punched the shit out of a snake. If I was in that situation, I mean, I would have punched a snake too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's fair. If I could safely punch a snake, I'd punch one all fucking day.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think the fear initially started way back when I was a kid when my uncle found one out in the woods and cut its head off. And then I went and kicked the body. and then it had a death rattle, and the fact that it did that and it didn't have a head really creeped me out. So
No, that's fair. That's
Oh
fair.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I remember when I was like 4, like we were in a trailer park and we were having a little neighborhood get together, and I just seen my dad bolt in front of me with a garden hoe, kills the fuck out of a copperhead that was in our driveway.
Oh, God.
And then my friend at the time was just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play with a body that's like wiggling and shit, and I'm just like, fuck that.
Now, because we're definitely living in a part of the world where your parents or probably your great and grandparents be just like, oh, they're just tending to the garden, and then be like, oh, there's a snake, nanny, mama, be careful. Just like, oh, where is it? I'm gonna get it. They take like a garden spade and goes, yeah, and just like cut that sumbitch up. And
that's my mom.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we basically live in the U.S. version of Australia.
That's not inaccurate.
Also,
Lots of poisonous animals around
another one of my favorite parts of the movie is when Lance Hendrickson he does a stunt involving him being his back completely engulfed in flames.
Oh, that was the one I was going to talk about next.
Oh,
It's fucking
for real?
cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so fucking awesome.
His jacket's on fire because Van Damme made everything go boom.
But I bring that up to bring this up because this has to be the most hilarious fact I've ever seen in IMDb trivia ever. Please go down this rabbit hole with me. During the final battle, Lance Hendrickson's coat accidentally caught fire. He never broke character and continued the scene while he pulled off the coat and threw it away. This remained in the final cut.
Holy shit.
That's fucking sick.
But as we all noticed in the film, he obviously had that like burn gel on him, because immediately after this quote, in parentheses, this was not accidental. It was a brilliantly executed stunt by the actor himself along with the special effects team.
Yeah, I feel like if this was like
And and I was just like, and it's I just thought that was
I
funny
would
for some
love it
reason.
if like he cut like
This
he-
wasn't supposed to happen. It was actually meant to happen.
or it might be like middle of both. Like he caught fire, but there might be people who didn't know about that stunt. People just like, oh shit!
But
this guy's a motherfucker.
Regardless, that was a badass scene. I loved it.
Yeah, like it's not, it's not faked at all. Like, he's literally sitting there on fire, just like fuming and shit. Like, get that dude.
And his weapon of choice was like a fucking like elephant gun, but a pistol.
It's a
Yeah.
Thompson Center Arms Contender single shot pistol.
I really love the fact that you had that info right then and there. That was fucking superb.
I do my best.
That is good shit.
Yeah, if you're a gun fan in this movie, you would have noticed like all these like yeehaw motherfuckers walking around with like these like we said elephant guns, and just like there's like a
Big
Tex
ass-
dude has like a goddamn like grenade launcher.
oh yeah, like just
I will
some
say,
fucking John Wick
and
shit.
this is the second time on this podcast we saw the famous shoot a barrel and it like launches like a rocket into the air. 'Cause
Yeah.
that definitely happened in Face Off.
The fire scene was absolutely planned because
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen himself shared some behind the scenes stuff on Facebook 11 years ago.
Yeah, and plus like his hair was soaked with that burn gel. Like,
No, that's just regular hell.
I mean, ew. Well, he must have borrowed some from Van Damme because his hair was gross.
It was like
but just for that one shot.
I mean, it was
Glistening,
fantastic, but it was also gross.
And I also loved like during the movie, like anytime he'd get like stressed or like anything, he would do this motion with his hair.
Yeah.
like he would
Brush
like
his hair back.
brush the hair back, because he has like he has a widow's peak, but he kind of brushed the sides back. Like,
God,
ooh.
I don't know why, but like I feel like every time he'd like brush his hair back, for some reason he would just like slip with his feet. And God, also he pulled the Batman move a lot in this movie. I loved how he just like appeared
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes.
And there's also that moment where he's just like, he's like the cultured villain, and he's just like banging out the tunes on his piano.
And like when it's like the full body shot, he's clearly not playing it, but then they do the hand close up, and whoever they got was just going fucking ham, just like.
What was funny with the body shot, I always look for that sort of thing because as a musician, and I looked at his body language like maybe, but then you can actually see it at the piano where the hammers aren't fucking moving.
Yeah.
Is great. I also love the one-liners.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
Hunting season's over.
Hunting season's over.
And he dumps a grenade in Henriksen's pants and kicks him, and Henriksen pulls the grenade out and like takes the charging primer out and separates it from the bomb, and he goes, ha ha ha, and then you see a spark, and it's my favorite death reaction. He goes, oh.
That was one of the most like abrupt. Like immediately after that explosion, didn't the movie fucking end?
It just ends.
Yeah.
Like he goes over to Wilford Brimley, who got stabbed with an arrow, but it hit his flask and says, "Oh, this is a real disaster."
Yeah.
And so he and Yancey Butler and Wilford Brimley walk out of the burning warehouse, and that's the credits roll.
And then the end.
Yeah, and a lot of like, especially like Chinese martial arts movies or like action movies, just end. Like there's like a lot of Jackie Chan movies that it's like, all right, final battle, all right, it's over.
Yeah. Also, as corny as it is, one of my favorite lines was, "What kind of a name is Chance?" "Well, my mama took one." What does that mean? Like, what the fuck does that mean?
She didn't wear a condom.
She didn't wear a condom.
Yeah, because remember, there is such a thing as female condoms, but
That is true.
The sponge from Seinfeld?
Wilford Brimley's accent is terrible.
It's
Yeah.
not the best.
Although, oh my God, that man can ride the shit out of a horse. That was
Yeah.
not a stunt in Wilford
That was-
Brimley.
that was
That was
majestic.
all him.
he was
he's
yeehawing
all
on
him.
that boat.
He's playing a Cajun, which is how they try to explain the Van Damme accent this time.
Mommy.
And it's not like neither one of them sound real. Van Damme never sounds real. Wilford Brimley sounds.
See, I thought he was just a raving derelict because he was just making like
Just moonshine out in the woods.
Yeah, like moonshine from like rainwater and pine needles.
And like just making this fucking Everclear bullshit.
Like he has a little taste and it's like, yep, now the vision is gone.
Well, speaking of one of his lines, "Here, drink, but do not spill. It kills the grass."
I love that line. That's my favorite line.
That's so fucking funny.
But definitely go watch It's worth watching.
It is.
so good.
It's a good.
It's
time.
It's a
brisk-
fun time.
I love
brisk
how
hour
the
and a
final
half.
battle took place in like this like Mardi Gras factory.
Pretty
Just like-
much, yeah. Just a big.
Oh my
Mardi Gras
God, I
warehouse
forgot
factory
about that.
with floats and shit.
Like, this movie was legit like an advertisement for New Orleans.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean, welcome to New Orleans, y'all.
But no, at a crisp like hour and a half, it's a good time.
also, I want to bring up the shotgun blast to the face scene in the car.
Oh, that was great.
Like, as great and gnarly as that was, I shit you not, it was ruined in the next scene when you can see he still has a face.
Yeah, because the guy who got hit with the shotgun from Vosloo was the porno guy who had his ear chopped
Emotep.
off to.
he was the facilitator of finding the homeless veterans for people to hunt.
Yeah. So bringing back a bit that I had from earlier, he got Van Gogh.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Vosloo performance. Like, I know you weren't going to leave. That would hurt my feelings. That was sort of like his catchphrase.
And you know what? Because of Hard Target, I'm going to say it right now. You know what? I'm going to do it on the podcast.
Okay.
I am buying the Darkman trilogy on Blu-ray
Oh, nice.
because I love the first movie.
Oh, yeah. Liam Neeson's fantastic.
Yes, and he Vosloo
Vosloo takes over.
he takes over in the second and third
Yep.
Darkman movie.
Yeah, that's
and you know what? I remember those movies. They actually kind of blend into one movie to me.
Very much so.
But I'm excited to see them now because he's in it.
Well, good.
Because of this film.
I hope you enjoy them.
I'm gonna.
That's a good place to, almost unprecedented, we're going to take our second break
What?
where I'm going to recycle another old commercial. So please enjoy this advertisement for our shirts. And we'll be right back.
I can scream into the mic for 30 seconds if you just want to do that.
I mean, I'd really prefer you. Like, that would be bad. Like, a lot of people wouldn't enjoy it. Like, that would hurt.
what if I silently grunted for 30 seconds?
Well, see, also, like, a little behind the scenes, we have to export the last 59 minutes of sound footage. That's why we take these breaks, because anything over like an hour, we run the risk of collapsing like we did on that one episode where I sounded so completely destroyed.
Well, if that's the case, why are you still talking? I meant after the fact. Let's wrap it up. Let's go. I love you, buddy.
I love you too. We'll be right back to discuss Street Fighter.
Oh, yes.
Well, hey there, folks. Do you like mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, wall art, pillows,
logos? All sorts of fun things with fun logos? Well, if you do, head on down to tpublic.com/user/caging-greatness for all sorts of great merchandise and support your local creators. That's us! Hooray! We hope you enjoyed that fantastic whatever it was, probably commercial, because, we're lazy. We don't have a lot of time.
It definitely wasn't me screaming for 30 seconds.
No, that wasn't the thing.
No.
We'll get some new stuff, like maybe some... we'll get some new, maybe some Cajun karaoke, maybe some Rob's reviews. We've got a new thing that we're trying
Cajun
to get done.
karaoke is hilarious. I enjoy those.
Yeah, well, those are tough though, because
I know it involves work.
Yeah,
but
definitely more
and
time
I
consuming.
just haven't had a chance because I'm trying to get ready for fucking free comic book day.
Oh, I know.
And shit,
I am.
but I have some ideas, and after this week, I'm going to try to, get some stuff in there.
Is there a Cajun Greatness table at Free Comic Book Day?
I mean, I wish there was. But
I wish we could fucking somehow pull a much tamer, mind you. I'm not an animal. Podcast live during Free Comic Book Day. I think that would be pretty rad.
That would be.
But
cool.
I know you're going to be a busy man.
I'm going to be fucking slammed,
super busy.
And because usually it's me and Liz, and usually we have our helper, but she's not going to be. I haven't seen her in 8 months. I don't know where the fuck she is. So yeah, it's going to be more busy than normal. But,
Well, granted, I've helped out a few times. Granted, mostly I'm like, here are the sales. Look around. Have a good time. That's about the extent of me helping out sometimes.
Yeah. No, I'm going to need somebody to watch the free comics and be like, no, please take one of everything if you want, but just one.
Just one. I will tackle somebody if they take two.
Good.
Am I allowed?
Yeah,
I know
sure.
you're the owner of the store. Am I allowed to tackle people?
I mean, as long as I don't know about it and we delete this part where I just said, sure, go ahead.
And we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Hey, if I take them out in the street, can I fight them?
I mean, I'm not going to say no. You're an autonomous person. You can do whatever you want.
What if we start a fight club in the back?
In the back, where? Like in the back road? Because there's no room in the back of the store.
No, we got to take them to the street.
Yeah,
that's where the fighting
like I'm
happens.
talking about around the building.
Got to step up to the streets.
Have you ever punched a street in the face?
It hurts.
It's unrelenting.
I kicked a fire hydrant once.
That sounds like a bad idea.
I was young and dumb and irritated.
Yeah. As someone who's had, as a young fucking dumb idiot, had his fair share of Kyle moments and punched a wall that was not very forgiving a time or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've bruised knuckles before.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah. No, it's not great.
But
My mom's like, why is there a hole in the door? I don't know.
That's why we don't recommend fighting streets. But what we do
Don't fight
recommend,
streets.
1994's Street Fighter.
Street Fighter!
And that is what we're talking about now in this third section of the UnCaged episode.
Probably going to be a little shorter.
Probably, but I will say, God damn it, I love this movie so much. My oldest friend, a guy named Matt, current roommate, we've known each other since we were 12, right? We're on 20 years of friendship. So we passed long ago the point where you get each other gifts for stuff. Like, we just flip each other off and go about our business. That's what friends do, right? But there was one year he's like, look, I know we don't usually do gifts, but I saw this in Walmart, and I know you because we've been friends for this long, and I thought you had to have it. So happy birthday. And he hands me a Blu-ray of Street Fighter, and that's still one of my favorite gifts. I love this movie. So before I tell you that I rated it 5 stars, and I think everyone should watch it immediately, let's go around the table so you guys can tell me what you rated it, and I can tell you why you're wrong.
All right.
Jonathan.
I had a lot of fun with this movie. Maybe not as much as Hard Target or Bloodsport, but this movie definitely has a reputation of not being the best. However, I do think a lot of that is a little unfair. It's a little unfair. You got to look at this movie imagine Street Fighter as a comedy.
How else
It
do
is
you
funny.
imagine Street Fighter, though?
Starring Kristen Crook.
Oh, is that the Legend of Chun-Li movie? That's
Yeah.
not fun bad.
I was
but
going to say,
just,
that's Street
bad,
Fighter,
bad.
The Legend of Chun-Li, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
that's not
bad.
fun bad. That's just bad. Raul Julia, fucking fantastic.
R.I.P.
You could tell this was the point where Van Damme was smoking, or not smoking, but snorting a lot of fucking coke.
He rolled up a whole joint of cocaine and smoked it.
I want one cocaine, please. He was had a much different energy that even Time Cop. He was just he seemed a lot more like.
Well, he said in I think it was either his interviews or his book or something, this whole shoot he spent his off time doing all of the cocaine and fucking Kylie Minogue,
who plays Cammy in this movie.
She does play Cammy, yes.
Which I will say, for me, part of the fun was because I'm a pretty big fan of Street Fighter. It's like, oh, who's that person supposed to be? Okay, that's a kind of rough facsimile of what they're supposed to be. And then there's one character we will get to after everyone else talks about theirs. I gave it like 3.5.
Okay, Pat, what did you think?
This was my first time seeing Street Fighter,
Oh.
and it was definitely a lot of fun to finally see the product after years of acclaim, both local and worldwide.
Oh, come on, the only acclaim's coming from me. You know that.
But it's very much a cult favorite.
You got the only 5-star rating on this stupid app.
It's even better than the Mortal Kombat movie. I'm saying it.
Now look, Shim, there are
Wait, the new one?
Not the new.
No, the original,
whoa!
I was talking about 95 Mortal Kombat.
I would agree. The 95 Mortal Kombat's the better movie, but this is more fun.
Now, to your point, Shim, you are one of 250 people on Letterboxd who give that movie 5 stars.
Right, and how many gave it a 2?
Well, that is the
because I'm seeing the highest.
That's the average score of the film on Letterboxd. But I personally gave it 3.5. But I think this might be my favorite of the movies I got to see.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it was very goofy. It's very campy. I loved just how silly it was. And strangely enough, even though this movie is just like stuffed with characters, I was kind of satisfied that most of them got like a moment.
Yeah.
Granted, the moment not be very long, but I kind of feel like at least everybody got to do something.
Yeah.
For at least a minute.
Except everybody's whipping boy, T-Hawk.
T-Hawk, he was there.
He was there.
He was there.
And even though he's only a fourth indigenous, I guess it's not as egregious as some people were when it comes to like just swapping these nationalities.
Yeah, he's top 3 as far as the person playing the character is the correct nationality.
Yeah, because they're a little loosey-goosey with this one.
Like Ming-Na Wen is top.
Yeah, because she's Chinese and she played Chun-Li.
Right.
And also, fucking legend Ming-Na Wen. Like, she's been at this game for like over 30 years and she still looks amazing and she still kicks every ass. She's in fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's great. I love her.
Fuck, she was.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Cannon,
Okay.
what did you think of Street Fighter?
Well, I mentioned it several times. I used to just wear movies out for 2 weeks at a time, and this was one of them. As a child, I wore this movie out. It got rented from our local video store all the time. I think Street Fighter 2 is like the only Street Fighter game I've actually played. So, and it even said in the film that characters based off Street Fighter 2.
Like specifically like Turbo.
Now, that being said, I don't hate this movie, but it's starring Claude Van Damme, who, granted, was on like 10 grand worth of coke a week at this point in his career.
And that's 94 money. That's without the inflation.
Yeah. That being said, Raul Julia,
Yes.
his fantastic performance and about a third cup of moments mixed in, none of which involved Jean-Claude Van Damme, except for like that one thing
Yeah,
we
the
will
one
talk
speech,
about.
yeah.
We will talk about
My second favorite speech in the movie.
It got a 2.5, but I Hadouken that heart so hard. Like it's fun, but like this is a Jean Claude episode, and I have to think of like all the performances and.
Yeah, no, I love this movie for Raul Julia.
Yes, God,
Exclusively Raul Julia.
So
This man was literally dying of cancer, and
Yes.
he hammed it up to the pearly gates.
But like Jean-Claude Van Damme, besides him being top billing, he's not in the movie that much.
no.
No, there wasn't a lot of room for him.
I mean, because like there's literally just like 12 main characters.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in this movie.
Because we got Ryu, Ken, Vega, Sagat, DJ, Dalsum, Blanca,
Zangief,
Zangief, Chun-Li, Balrog, E Honda,
T-Hawk.
T-Hawk,
Cammy.
Guile.
Yeah. The character that should have been Fei Long, but they renamed him Tanaka for some reason.
Yeah.
That's an in-game worth of characters in a one-off movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all
Holy
have their
shit.
moment to shine.
Yeah, they do.
They'll have like a little section of the story too. I mean, like obviously,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember that character in the game.
Well, he was from Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which is the one that
that's why I know.
allowed the original bosses to be played and also introduced T-Hawk, DJ, Fei Long, and what was the other one? Somebody help me out. T-Hawk, DJ, Fei Long.
Like I said, I've only played 2. My history on the lore is
it
not
wasn't
that deep.
Balrog, was it?
No, he was one of the original bosses.
Um,
Hang on. I'm going to look this up.
Is it Vega?
No, Vega was in the original.
Well,
too.
Vega looked badass
Sagat.
in this movie, at least.
yeah.
No, Sagat was one of the originals too.
What, Akuma?
No, he was way on after that. Hang on, we're looking it up now. Because the original one had the main 8 fighters, and then the 4 bosses were Vega, Balrog, Sagat, and Bison. And then Super Street Fighter Turbo added.
That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, it had the first secret character Akuma, but as a secret character from a code screen. But like he wasn't like the one of the big sort of characters. God, just give me a character list. Fucking Wikipedia, I swear to God.
Yeah.
I mean, the Street Fighter roster is pretty extensive.
Yeah, but
yeah, especially once you get to 4 and 5, it's like, holy fuck.
well, on Yakuma, I was reminded of a bit. Apparently, there was a really pervasive like rumor that if you beat the first or second Resident Evil 7 times, you got to play as Akuma.
Oh, yeah, and it's total bullshit.
No, it's very fake. I mean, there were like some photos that were doctored back in the day.
Oh yeah, because it was like late 90s. The internet wasn't like what it was today, so there was like rumors.
The urban legend of Zelda, like the whole thing, like Muse under the truck, and
Oh yeah, and
that Vermilion City. But just like on some of the bits, like and plus I think as a nice little tangent for the movie, Jay Tavare, the actor who played Vega, who is apparently still looking very much in his Vega shape.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
He
yeah.
will be a minor part in an upcoming episode because he's in Adaptation.
Oh,
Oh.
there you go.
Like, the Nick Cage film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, Jamie Lee Curtis's favorite Street Fighter character is Vega.
Huh.
She cosplayed him and won the convention a few years back.
Well, that's neat. Well, wrestler Zelina Vega is also a big Vega fan.
Yeah.
That's where she got her last name. Her last name on the
Yeah, her.
She actually showed up for an event dressed in her version of that, right?
I don't
I've
know if
seen
she's
that.
I don't know if she was Vega or I remember she dressed. There was like a WWE.
I've seen her in that mask.
Event where they had the wrestlers show up as like Street Fighter characters, and I almost want to say she was like Katana because she had like the whole like ninja suit on. We know who else was a ninja in this movie? Chun-Li.
Chun-Li, yeah, for like,
The roving reporter Chun-Li and her Scooby gang of Balrog and E Honda.
And you know what? Another high spot of this movie.
Even though that is a random as hell trio, I really like their sort of interactions as this, little like Scooby gang of like miscreants. It's like, Chun-Li's like, I gotta kill Bison because he killed my father, and have like this circuitous plan to do it. Just like, I'm gonna dress as a go-go girl and then set up a bomb and blow up all his munitions.
Yeah, no, that happened. I could not find who the fourth character was. It might have been Sagat. I don't think it was, but again, it's from 1992. So
yeah, because I was looking at Street Fighter Turbo and Super Street Fighter Turbo, and it's like we named all the characters. I don't know who else would be the.
Yeah, Fei Long was always my favorite. He's basically just Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He's quick as hell.
Every fighting game has a Bruce Lee in it.
I mean, as basic as it is, Chun-Li was always my main.
Chun-Li's great. Well, Blanca was my favorite in the first one. Big green monster that makes shocky noises. Yeah, I love Blanca.
And it's funny how like Blanca in this movie kind of looks like if Pennywise to the Fusion Dance with Bill Bixby Hulk.
It is not great.
It's pretty goofy.
Like-
and apparently just like how they do it is they just pump him full of Gatorade flavors and then make him watch war crimes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the scientists they had like enslaved to do this like crime against humanity was Dawism, but he's just like a scientist, always all chained up.
Yeah, which I never picked up on when I watched it as a kid. And like and in this movie, like you said, it was in a deleted scene.
I want to say it was deleted scene or like a script or something where he got knocked into the Gatorade juices that turned Blanca into Blanca.
Yeah.
And that's what caused his hair to fall out for some reason. But there was never anything I saw that explained why he was shirtless all of a sudden, except for, hey, we got to make him look like the game.
Yeah, he's like fully dressed and has hair at one point, and then close to the end, most of the movie, and then at the end, right before the end of the film, he's all of a sudden bald and half naked.
Yeah.
Inexplicably.
No explanation whatsoever.
No. But I do unabashedly love this film. I really do. And the bit you mentioned earlier was the only good Jean-Claude part was the speech he gives to the AN soldiers about going home. And he ends that speech with one of my favorite. Anytime somebody says, "Yeah, I'm about to go home," I always in my head go to, "Well, I'm not going home. I'm going to get in my boat and I'm going up river," because he says up river,
River.
and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Because apparently,
I mean, I would ride into hell with him after that speech.
I just love how he just kind of turns into like almost like a Hungarian / Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah.
But the best speech in this movie is one that I've mentioned on the show and in real life probably 1,000 times.
As often as he can do it.
Because to me, it's the greatest line in movie history.
It's a good one.
Everything else be damned. Like, I don't care if you come with Goodfellas or Godfather. I don't give a shit. This line is better than all those other lines. I
say that's a good one. It's good.
It's when Chun-Li is talking to M. Bison after she's been imprisoned and put into a very pretty red dress.
More like her character.
Yeah. I was like, I'm coming after you because you killed my pap. I'm paraphrasing. She doesn't say it just like that.
Oh, my pappy, he done killed him.
You had my dad killed as you ran away. And she goes through this whole backstory of like, you've ruined my life, you bastard. And Raul Julia turns around and delivers the pitch perfect line, "I'm sorry, I don't remember it." She's like, "But how can you not remember?" And this is the line. He says, "For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday." And that is, to me, the greatest line in all of cinema in the history of ever.
I totally saw him miming this part as it was happening while we were watching the movie. I'm not making this up.
Yeah, no, I was.
It's one of my favorite things.
It's a good line. It's so good.
Because it really informs his character.
Like I said, like Raul Julia in this movie, like God, I said, R.I.P. God fucking bless him. He's not eating every bit of scenery. He is deep throating every bit of fucking scenery in this movie.
Like he's like Galactus, eater of worlds.
Like he's full Kirby. He just eats the entire movie.
If you don't want to watch this whole thing, I swear to watch a supercut of just his bits. I feel you'll be just as entertained.
Also, Zangief was great.
Yes.
They just played him as just a fucking moron.
Dumb, the biggest dumbass
The
ever.
big truck full of
Dumber than a
explosives.
sack of rocks.
Yeah, the Chun-Li truck of explosives is headed towards the tent where he and Sagat had the fight, and they're on the TV screen, but also in real life, he looks back and forth. He goes, "Quick, change the channel!" And DJ was my second favorite minor.
He's
character.
a very underrated character.
'Cause every time Zangief said some stupid bullshit, he would just turn around and give him the most, "What the fuck did you just say
This
with that
motherfucker."
oxygen?" Look, and DJ is fantastic.
I love the bit where like everything's blown up and falling apart, and like Bison's like, this is the end. Or at least we'll go together, DJ. DJ's like, the hell you said it. He just sneaks off.
For all you Scooby-Doo fans, the actor playing DJ in this movie also played the weird, creepy, not bad guy shaman in the first Scooby-Doo film. The one that first meets Sarah Michelle Gellar's Daphne Blake.
In the live action one.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it's
that
doing-
one written by James Gunn?
Yes, it was. And it's
Bringing
still-
back to Suicide Squad, which you should watch.
Which
You
we
should
peppered
totally watch
throughout this
that.
whole show.
And it's still a really good movie. I own that DVD. If you have a chance to watch that movie, if you haven't seen it, the Scooby-Doo, please watch it. It's very good. If you find the DVD and you can listen to the cast commentary on it, also really fucking fun.
Because Freddie Prinze Jr. was in that. He was Fred,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I funnily enough, he played Fred.
Yeah.
Fred, Sarah Michelle Gellar was Daphne, Linda
Matthew
Cardellini
Lillard
was Velma, who I've had a crush on for 20 years.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze, they're married.
Yeah, and Freddie Prinze Jr. was a writer for the WWE.
Yeah.
And, then
And-
Matthew
And
Lillard.
he's like a huge Star Wars fan, too.
Yeah.
And Matthew Lillard is he's been consistently involved in Scooby-Doo ever since.
Yeah, pretty
playing
much,
Shaggy.
yeah. He's
Except
good.
for when Scoop happened and they didn't even tell him he was recast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that was
apparently,
fucked.
they did make up because he's going to be Shaggy in the Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover.
Yeah, that makes me happy. I'm
So,
glad that's happening.
there you go. I
now,
love that guy.
Can we please talk about the moment that had us all fucking belly laughing?
Sure, which one?
Godzilla.
Right.
Oh my god!
my God. I totally forgot.
I remembered that, but I got carried away.
was
in the bit.
great.
So there's a moment where in the ending where everyone's fighting each other, Honda and Zangief have paired off to fight as they're two big meaty men and they're slapping meat.
Slapping man.
And then Captain Takanawa, who should have been Fei Long, is he comes up on some security monitoring equipment that the rest of his particular troop have gotten to him, and of course they're all Japanese, which is the setup to this joke. And like, sure, well, let's take a look. This could be something very strategically important. And they turn on the monitor, and it's Zangief and Honda fighting each other, just grappling in the middle of a miniature city that Bison had made up for his future capital.
Bisonopolis.
Yeah, while the Godzilla noises are playing.
and probably the Kira Fukube score was going, too,
Yeah,
right?
because literally both John and I said no, they didn't.
like I feel like the only reason that is ever set up is for that joke.
And oh my fucking god, the other one to demonstrate how evil M. Bison is, he has a fucking painting from god damn it.
Was it Gacy?
John Wayne Gacy has a
Oh my fucking God! What the fuck was that shit?
Jonathan did not react well to the John Wayne Gacy style M. Bison painting.
it was just like they did not.
They
No ma'am.
God, that was so fucking tag.
well, I mean, how many of the 9-year-olds watching that movie were going to get that reference, though?
I mean, granted,
no.
Little Cannon didn't catch that reference.
I didn't
I
catch
mean,
it for
I wouldn't
15
have
years.
either, but it was
This was
just
the
like,
first time I noticed.
I was just like, oh God, that's just like that made me feel like gross.
Yeah, because like he kind of basically murdered a bunch of gay young men and then stuffed them in his floorboards.
Yeah.
And then
John Wayne Gacy, not M. Bison.
Yeah.
Or Raul Julia.
no,
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy, and then everyone was like, "Man, John's house smells funny."
And then literally the entire apartment complex that was full with black people was like, "Hey, this guy is killing people, and there's some crooked."
Wait,
shit going on."
you're getting your streams crossed. That was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Anyway, a lot of wiggity
Yeah,
woo
Pat,
bullshit.
how dare you not know your murdering psychopath
Yeah, boo
backstory?
on me for not knowing my murder.
Hey, we're huge true crime fans.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder about the proliferation of true crime and how the deaths of people are used as entertainment. But that's a story for another day.
I just want to point out that in another Raul Julia movie made about 20 years ago, or 30 years ago now, they had Wednesday Addams and her potential boyfriend at the camp where they were sent off to in Addams Family Values, trading serial killer cards back and forth to show how weird they were. And nowadays, everyone's into informative murder porn.
Nowadays, that's a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not.
people are like making the fan are like, here, get your keychain of your favorite murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it I like true crime, but it's still like, even like my level of involvement, I'm like, this is still kind of weird.
When do you stop thinking about it just for a little bit?
Yeah.
This really isn't a nitpick. It's more so a question, and I'm wondering if anybody here may have like found like a little factoid that may have an answer to this. But I know in the video games, like Guile and Camille are in green, and their whole crew were decked out in blue in this movie.
Yeah,
Like, was there like any specific reason for that, or?
I want to say it was because they were based off the UN, and the UN camo colors were officially blue. Because they're the allied nations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't say that for sure. But more than likely, it's the UN ties.
Okay.
Hey, they definitely got somebody's military budget because they really wanted to show off those boats.
Yeah.
It was like, we got this high-tech stealth boat.
I will say that boat did look pretty snazzy.
it was a pretty.
And like they go through all this telemetry. We got to put this cloaking device on while they're blowing up.
Some of the worst cloaking technology ever.
Like stuff on the side of a riverbank, and just like they can't see us, but shit's blowing up.
Even if you can completely turn your boat invisible, how is that going to stop the water ripples?
And that's just a real big fish.
Nope.
Just saying.
Something that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet.
Uh-oh.
Ken looks like my dad circa 94. like most of the characters, like I said before, you're just like, okay, yeah, I see where they're going. It's like that kind of looks like Ryu. That kind of looks like Chun-Li.
Like the very bare bones of what these characters could be.
Yeah, it's like if I take off my glasses and squint, that type of thing. But no, Ken looks like my dad.
Like,
and
we joked that it was like Uncle Joey from Full House.
yeah, he does look like fucking Joey from Full House.
Because he has like this like almost denim colored like button up, like a tan tie and a brown like vest he's wearing.
It was not a good look.
Yeah.
And then like I made the joke that he looks like if someone's trying to draw Sebastian Stan from memory.
Yeah.
It kind of fucked it up. I would honestly say like everybody in the movie except for a couple kind of looks like if someone is trying to describe what Street Fighter characters look like, and the other person who's never seen them is trying to draw them down.
That is true. That is very true.
Also, Kylie Minogue plays Camille in this is one of two films that I have seen her in, the second being Biodome, of course.
I'm glad she was in Biodome.
Yes, she was in Biodome.
Ugh.
And the song "Can't Get You Out of My Head" because that's the only Kylie Minogue song I've heard.
That's fair.
She's also in Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. Okay, according to IMDb, so, could be dubious, the blue is based off of his Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo variation color.
Okay.
As opposed to the green. And then they just made Cammy wear the same because, same AN team, the Allied Nations team.
Okay.
And that's where the red dress for Chun-Li came in.
It's like Bison's color motif is red, so he wears red. His goons wear red. So he was sick her in a red dress.
Also, I did want to bring up the fact that when Blanca is looking at all the terrible things that he's subjected to. Are you fucking kidding me right now? I take a breath and the cricket, another one just shows up. Anyway, I noticed that in the film, there's this little green outline diagram of his body mass outside of the machine. Oh, damn.
Ugh.
Whoa. Put some stank on that one, Jonathan. I like it. Holy hell. I hope that made it on the mic. I really do. Just boom. Big
I
old
mean, I didn't
thumpers.
even kill it. I was just like banging on the wall. Hopefully, it will shut the fuck up.
All right, but you can see like his growth in body mass, right? At this point, I forget his name. The doctor,
Dalsim.
like
Dalsim.
long-armed guy from the game.
Yes,
Yoga fire.
Dalsim.
He was always fun. Anyway, he once he starts showing him like wholesome clips, his body gets like John Cena size. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. He's a
big
Like
dude.
apparently, the power of good is like the equivalent of steroids.
Yeah, so that's why John Cena is so big. It's how wholesome it is.
Every Make-A-Wish he grants, he gets bigger.
He gets power.
Which he is really jacked in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know what else is really big on John Cena?
His
His fat cock, and that's tidy whities.
Jesus Christ.
Watch Suicide Squad for
That's
John
not
Cena's
real.
giant penis.
So the guy who was cast as Captain Sawada was originally supposed to be Ryu, but he could barely speak English, which, as having watched the movie,
Yeah.
was important for this version of Ryu.
Which explains like his one piece of camera is speaking in Japanese.
Right. So they gave him the newly created Captain Sawada instead of just Fei Long for some reason, and he was pretty not happy about it.
Imagine if you're told one thing and you're given another, you might be disappointed.
Well,
on
was
it.
that the guy that was looking at the footage of the Godzilla
Yeah.
spoof? Yeah. Well, a lot of his lines were dubbed over.
Also, the when Sagat finds out that Ken and Ryu were plants the whole time, designed to like work with Guile, and Raul Julia turns around and goes, "I guess you didn't see that, did you?" and covers his eye. That was a Julia ad lib.
That was funny though.
Yeah, it was
That
great.
was a good shit.
Also, apparently Jean-Claude Van Damme was offered the chance to reprise his role in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh,
And
really?
he wisely said no, thank you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like just bring him back.
He wouldn't been able to save that movie.
Just bring him back, but with the actual Guile hair from the video game.
Yeah.
But not just Guile hair, the Guile from fucking Fortnite.
Also, why is his hair like red?
That seemed like a poor dye job.
Yeah, like it was a bad dye job.
It seemed like they were like trying to transition his brown hair to blonde. They just sort of stopped in the middle.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like his hair in Time Cop, if they would have dyed that fucking blonde, it would have worked better than what we got. Just saying.
God, I would love it if someone tried to make a live action Street Fighter and they went whole hog and just making just such a swoop and flat top.
But like Jonathan said, like Guile is like available to purchase in Fortnite right now, and his hair is even like more exaggerated than in the games he's already in, and it's hilarious.
like his body frame is thinner, but his hair is like a parabola. Like he's receiving like waves from space off that thing.
But I can't stress enough, like again, Raul Julia, this was his final performance, right?
Yeah.
Because he died later in 1994.
Like in this silly ass fucking movie, he is just a diamond in the rough. He gives it his all, and like I said, like I mentioned it off the pod, like he knew that he was dying, and he did this because he wanted his kids to watch it, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like when at least in my head canon, when he was hooked up to those wires, he was just like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna have just a grand old time and just soar through the sky.
Y'all can sling me into the wall.
Just
It don't
Falcon
matter
punch,
now.
like I bet, like again, headcanon, I hope just because he like just gave Jean-Claude a good old sock in the face for real, just like, oops, sorry, and he's just like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, because apparently Van Damme was very difficult to work with during this, especially.
I mean, if he's like
'Cause, you
on
know.
massive amounts of cocaine, he's
Yeah.
obviously going to be
Yeah,
hard
he's
to
got
work.
like cocaine in his nose and blood in his dick. I'm sure he's just a monster.
Yeah.
That's ugh. No fun to work with.
But, you know, I think, we've been going about 2.5 hours now, so I think the two people still listening, Postman Frank, love you, buddy.
Friend of the show, Joe. Yeah.
Also, an idea for Postman Frank. He has to combat the weather. In addition to multiple multinational fighters, and we call it Sleet Fighter because he's a postman.
God damn it.
All right. Also, before we wrap it up, I did want to mention that since we've been talking about it, and for the second time on the podcast, I've changed my review.
Okay.
It went from a deuce to
Street Fighter still has its heart, and it's at 3 stars.
got a little bumpy.
Like I said, Raul Julia and the actress who played Chun-Li was really good.
No win.
Yeah.
Her.
Also the voice of Mulan.
And it was Jean-Claude, like, I got a nice glimpse of that wee bit of powder on the corner of his nose. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, I love this movie as a kid, and I was like legitimately excited to watch it again. And again, Raul Julia was great, and I don't hate the fact that I saw this movie. It was fun.
I do love this movie.
Yes.
It was a good time.
And thank you guys for sharing this Jean-Claude Van Damme weekend with me.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
And everybody listening, all 3 of you, thank you so much for
That's
listening
one
to
more
us
than
ramble.
earlier.
Please go
One came back.
and watch Suicide Squad and also the Van Damme movies.
Yes.
And now we're going to do our plugs, and we're going to go to bed. And you guys can do whatever the fuck you want. It's your lives. You live it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Do what you
Jonathan, where can the people find you?
I am fucking tired, and you can follow me at Twitter at JONIABY24 and John Oates on 12 on Letterboxd.
Patrick?
This is Patrick. Thank you all for listening. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name. My art on Facebook is John Lost His Name Art. And if you're listening to this at the week it comes out, on Monday we release an episode where we reboot the seminal anime classic Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's very wild, very crazy, and very not safe for work. And on Tuesday, Tanner and his late night talk show, he is interviewing me, and we have a good time talking about that. And lastly, just enjoy yourself and have a good night.
Yep. Cannon?
And I am That Cannon Guy. You can find me at That Cannon Guy on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
And I, of course, am Captain Shimmy. You can find me at Captain Shimmy's Kind of Art, Captain Shimmy's Almost Music. You can also find me at the comic strip here in Tuscaloosa. If you're listening the day it comes out or the day after it comes out, then tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, depending, the Saturday, August 14th, is Free Comic Book Day. It's the biggest day of the year. Come on by if you're able. And, for you guys, listening to this podcast has been the most important day of your life. But for us, it's been Tuesday.
Well, now it's a Wednesday.
Technically, it is 12:19 in the a.m.
So we did start this on a Tuesday.
We watched Street Fighter on a Tuesday. That makes me so happy, actually.
This podcast is 2 days long. That's how hard we've worked on this.
You all know we normally record on Mondays, but it was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday this
and
time.
And now it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it is technically Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
I gotta pee.
Good night.
Good night.